The older she got.
I called to order a regular city council meeting on this Monday, January 22nd, 2024, 2 p.m. Could we stand for the pledge of allegiance to our flag? And council members, would you lead us again, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I request a motion to approve the agenda. Oh, yeah, we better get the roll call.
Counselor Miller,
Here.
Counselor Proctor,
Present.
Counselor Baber,
Here.
Counselor Lacewell. Here, Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, I would request a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor, I move to amend the agenda to postpone items under new business. Letter B as a boy, D as a dog, E as an egg until next month.
Let's see what we got.
Say them again.
Second.
Say them again.
To postpone items under new business, letter B as in boy, D as in dog, E as in egg until next month.
Why do you want to do that, Counselor?
Was there a second?
Yeah, I said.
Yeah, there was a second.
Well, there's some typographical errors in E that I think you need to address.
All right.
And the others you can just wait. We've got on the agenda.
Are you deciding it can wait? Is that it? And why? Why are you wanting to wait? Give me a reason, Counselor.
We can vote on it.
Oh, I want a reason.
I just gave you.
Okay, we're not going to go there then. Where are your typographical?
Well, there,
Well, we don't need any comments from you people that have done that the last 20 years. I've already heard it. Which typographical errors are you talking about? We can correct them now.
well,
Don't matter, just.
we had a motion in a second.
Sir, she has the floor. You do not.
No, I don't.
Then you need to not be addressing.
Okay, but she doesn't have to give a reason, Mayor.
That's not for you to decide. You're not,
Okay, who's gonna decide it?
I'm telling you, you do not have the floor.
Easy on backing up over me.
You do not have the floor, sir.
Okay.
I yield the floor.
Point of order.
Okay, you can sum the classes up there. Okay,
I yield the floor to Councilor Baber.
where we're on this, we don't have to, postpone this, I wouldn't think.
Well, she was acknowledged, she's made a motion to defer action or postpone action on those three items. And she had, she did it properly.
Okay, so I don't care. We can go ahead with it. That'd be fine.
The only question that I would ask is, these seem to be more important than anything else. And I would ask if Mary has any input as to the necessity of having that heard today.
Is that okay with you, Counselor? Counselor,
Oh, I
is that
didn't,
okay with you?
I didn't hear what Mary had to say.
Well,
I was just asking,
it could be important information that needs to be covered.
That's what we're asking.
Yes, sir.
So can I speak?
Oh,
I yield
Okay.
the floor to Mary.
go ahead, Mary.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you are wanting to postpone the budget adjustment, then I will not be able to turn in the quarterly report timely, which will put a black mark on the city. It will be a finding. And those findings and those situations that come from the audit will be the counselor's findings by prohibiting me from doing my necessary job duties.
Yes, sir, Counselor.
Okay, I think what was found here is on item B, which is the resolution to approve this budget. And your journal is out of balance at $3,306.
And that's correct. Budget jour-
Have the floor, please.
Let him go ahead and finish, Mary.
Okay, and then on the next one, it's journal out of balance, $4,600. Then you come over to page 4. We have a budget adjustment of debit amount, $293,526, and credit amount, $293,526. Now, on this, Mary, you have got, the same amount, and then you have a grand total, and it comes up, you've got it coming up to $455,832.00. I done the math by putting them two together, subtracting the $455,832, and come up with $131,220 decimal. Credit amount is even more at $139,126. And the total you come up, grand totals is what you're saying, they came up with is $447,926. That's why we're asking for this to be put back to the next meeting, so that we can talk.
Okay, can I explain those?
Yeah.
adjustments to you?
Suggestion,
Okay.
because we're getting
Of course.
of the particular item, is that if you would leave it on the agenda for today and have this discussion after this, you can move to deny the budget adjustment if you wish, but at least you take, put some flesh on those bones and find out if you're right, she's right, or if there's a misunderstanding.
Well, Mr. Underwood, I completely understand that, but I look at the math, and if I'm missing something here or misunderstanding it, then I need it explained to me.
I understand.
We're passing.
You're not-
We're passing,
Right.
we're,
You're not passing it right now,
okay,
Counselor. You're just determining whether or not to put it off for another day. And what Mary's telling you, as I understand it, is that if you do that, it's going to cause the city to get written up because she can't make the budget adjustment in a timely fashion. So if it's something that needs to be discussed, I'm just suggesting that you keep it on the agenda, let there be a full discussion of it, and then you can either approve it or not approve it.
okay, but my question is, how do I explain to these people sitting out here when a journal's about to order twice? The only thing that's in order is the LERPD DFA and LERPD salaries, 150,000, 150,000. And across the board, that's good.
And if I might, Mr. Mayor, all I'm saying is that I appreciate what you're saying, but the proper place for that to be fully vetted is in a discussion of the agenda item itself rather than just postponing.
Okay, Mary, when is this due by?
It is due by the 31st.
This month?
Yes, sir. And one more thing I would like to tell you is budget adjustments normally are not in balance because it's not like a journal adjustment where you have ins and outs of debits and credits. On budget adjustments, if there's a line that you must increase due to a mathematical error, or if you're getting insurance is a good example, and I'm going to be really brief. If we have monies that come into prior year and expenditures don't go out until the following year, it's never going to be in and out even. So in this particular situation, and I know hopefully I'll be able to discuss this during the item, your budget adjustments will never be always in balance. They're only that way if someone is moving money within their budget. They're subtracting and adding within their budget. But if an actual increase must be whether to the expenditures or to the revenues, it will not be in balance. But I will explain that.
I sure wish you would, because it's got me stumped.
I sure will, because journal entries for everyday ledger journal entries must always be in balance. But that is not true with budget adjustments. And I will explain that, sir.
Mayor,
I don't think Counselor Proctor's,
I rest it.
okay. Yes,
Council Proctor, would you like to put letter B back on the agenda and not postpone letter B?
I'm tossing.
yes, sir.
I'm tossing the ball.
I will
just don't want you.
I
to tell
will
me to
explain
shut up.
all of them in detail, sir.
I appreciate that. And I respect the chair you sit in.
Thank you.
Now, I'll leave that alone. I would rather wait until she gets to this point, if you don't mind, Councilor Lacewell, and let her explain the mathematical differences that I've come up with here. Why is it so great?
Okay.
I mean, the checkbook is run by debit and by credit and what you're gonna do 2 months from now. And I can run my checkbook, my wife runs a checkbook, and we don't have any issues like this. We're just talking about more money.
Okay.
Commissioner, if I might,
Yes, sir.
I just would recommend that Councilor Lacewell, if agreeable, amend her motion to omit item B from her.
Thank you, sir. I would like to amend my motion to postpone just letters D and E until next month.
And then when, Counselor, when we get to that, item, we'll see if we can't get an explanation for you. Because that's all you're asking for is an explanation.
I want it explained to where if one of my constituents out here come up to me, I can explain to them what happened and what's going on.
Yes, sir.
They're the ones that put me here.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You made your second, was it MJ, was it your second? Is that amendment satisfactory to you? So we have a motion, amended motion and a second.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor, Counselor Lacewell,
Aye.
Counselor Baber.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And this is on B only, correct?
D is back on the agenda. We're postponing D and E.
D and E. I'll second the motion on D and E.
and E, right?
That's. it's already voted.
That's
Okay,
second.
I'm sorry.
ED and E.
I was thinking of numbers.
Just those two of them.
So
So consent
there's been an amended motion and a second and a vote to remove D and postpone until the next meeting, D and E. Otherwise, the agenda stays intact.
Next item on the agenda is consent agenda.
Beg pardon?
Consent agenda is the next item.
Okay, so I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I guess we'll move to the next item.
Guys, for lack of a second, that's comes.
Yeah, that's all right. Public input. Yes, sir.
I almost think we should still bill them for that, because it's not like the insurance sent to us. Yeah, they were like, there was a separate something on there. So we got-
Good evening. Name's Wayne Peters, living in Downs. Last meeting, I was real impressed with our new city councils. I knew they'd be different, but I didn't know how good they were gonna be. And they showed yourself to be true representatives of the people that put them in office. And at that meeting, I was under the impression that two of the people sitting here jobs were eliminated. I was wondering where that's gone. Have you sent out for applications for those positions, or are you just gonna sit on it?
On public input, I don't know if I can, that's not appropriate for me to go though, although I can answer that. But I don't think this is a place to do that.
I don't want the citizens to understand, you know?
If you'll see me right after the council meeting, I'll give you the answer.
We all want to know.
Okay, Mr. Roberts?
Oh,
No, that's all right. Well, unless I didn't hear you, yes.
And state your name,
My name is Brian Roberts.
and are you a resident of Red Oak?
Yes, I am. I live at Casa Tastra. I just wanted to take a moment. I know that everybody around this table thinks enough, as do the folks that are in this room, think enough about our city to participate in the democracy. And I would urge everybody, if there's any common ground to be found, and it may be pretty scarce for a while, but I just would urge, for the benefit of not only the folks that are sitting in the audience, but for everybody that lives in our city, that we try to find that common ground and move the ball forward for the residents. It may be nearly impossible. I know we live in a very divided time. I know we just had a major change in the makeup of the council. And I would just like to put my 2 cents in for cooperation. And with that said, I'll shut up and go back to sit down.
Thank you. Yes, Bonnie. We got your favorite chair waiting.
Thank you.
I think it's one over here. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna sit on this side. Thank you. See if this chair works.
Bonnie, we all know who you are, but the record state your name.
I will, thank you. Mayor, council, my name is Bonnie Richardson, longtime citizen of Ruidoso Downs. I have 2 comments and 1 important question to make. Number 1, Ruidoso Downs voters have spoken and elected 3 representatives to their city council. A representative is a person standing in for the citizen, not a person standing in for his or her own interest. Those who were elected worked hard for this responsibility. They did not run unopposed, which incidentally, in my own opinion, is in no way a viable representation for the citizens. And again, in my own opinion, does not mean a better result for a better government. Number 2, Ruidoso Downs Rules Policy Committee members should not be subject to change or omission by one elected or unelected man or woman. Indeed, the Downs Council supposedly is supposed to have final say in that matter. The exception would be if the council has a tie vote, in which case the mayor votes, making the vote 3-2. Number 3, I believe it was the year 2022 or 23. The Downs Lodgers Tax Committee submitted $250,000 for renovation of the Museum of the Horse. That left approximately a balance of $250,000 in the Lodgers Tax funds. The public has been told only grant money from the state is in the museum fund. That brings up an important question concerning the withdrawal and transfer of Lodgers Tax money. Where is that $250,000? I can't find it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
My name is Pam Williams. And what I have to say is that this is why I've asked and begged that we have a forensic audit first. And then the fact that we don't have a balance sheet. I mean, if we had a balance sheet, everything would be in balance. It has to balance. You can't just throw numbers out there and call it good. I was a bookkeeper for 30 years. So I know this is what it takes to have any kind of a business. And this is run as a business. I mean, we do have assets and we have liabilities. And that's all that makes up a balance sheet. And we can't seem to have one. I've lived here 25 years and we've never had one. And that's the most asinine thing I've ever heard. It doesn't make any sense. You don't. That's the way things get stolen and abused. Just to be blunt, this is what happens. And y'all are no better than anybody else. It's time we did the business of the city of Ruidoso Downs and do it right, not just halfway.
Any other comments? Public, yes, ma'am.
Hello, councilors and mayor. I'm a longtime resident as well. I've just had a question about who does Ally, do you post the video of the meetings?
No, I do not.
Whoever does that, can you tell us who does?
Selena?
Do you have anything to do with it at all?
Yes.
It's not visible to the general public unless a change has been made recently.
It's,
We changed the YouTube channel because we couldn't get logged in because it was attached to a prior employee's cell phone number. So we now have a new YouTube, but if you go onto our website,
I
under the
did.
search,
I
we
did.
just checked it this morning and it's.
Okay, so you did it this morning?
No, we did it last week.
So yesterday I was unable to.
Well,
And
we
it
went
shows
on there
that
this
there is
morning
only
and
one person that has seen it.
If you'll see me after the meeting and then we can do it on your cell phone.
No, I think what it needs to be is adjusted so the general public can, not just Beth Miller.
No, everybody can view it.
If I can't see it though, and you're just fixing it for me, you have
If
a
you'll see me
problem.
after the meeting and then we'll go after it and see.
Okay. Everyone needs to, not just me,
Yeah.
honey.
Open for the general.
You got
public.
Anyone else?
iPhone might be on you. She's on the screen. Does she have a comment?
Yeah.
Do you know if that's the judge you're talking about?
Yeah, sure.
Blythe, do you know? Okay. Judge, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
I can. So I'm here to address council members and the mayor. I have asked numerous times to be put on the agenda. It never happens. And so I asked my staff to sign me in. I know there's budget adjustments that are coming up for you all to consider. I'm asking that the court budget not to be addressed at this time, that no changes to my budget be made. I have not received a monthly report since September. By law, I am responsible for the monies. I'm not receiving checks of bills that are paid. I have no idea the financial ramifications or where I'm even at financially because I'm not getting the reports that I'm supposed to be getting, though I've requested them. I've sent you all the information. As you know, in the beginning, when there was the workshop, my budget was gone through. I was given a final budget. When it came out, it was approximately $50,000 less than that. When I approached the finance director asking, where did that $50,000 go? I was told the insurance line was wrong. As you all know, and I've said it many times, under Mauer v. Rusk, the executive branch is not supposed to mess with the court's budget once it's approved by council. So what I am allowed to move monies around as I deem fit, that is my ability once you all give me the bottom line budget number. So it's extremely concerning to me when that large amount is removed because again, I'm not getting my reports. The last one I got was August. And so when that comes up today, since once again, this time I didn't ask to be put on the agenda, I'm not allowed to get the agenda until the public gets the agenda. So it's a little hard for me when it's gonna be on the agenda for you to discuss something and it's blurry and I'm not sure the court's even part of that, but yet I'm restricted. As we all know, Gino specifically stated, if the court wants to be put on the agenda, she should be put on. At least 3 times, I've been denied the right to be put on the agenda. If the request is done, it's done timely, and I've not been allowed to be put on there. So all I'm asking is that no budget adjustments be done on my budget until such time as the reports are there. I can educationally, accurately present to council, and I'd be allowed to be put on the agenda to do that, but that I can then come in and say why I'm not in agreement with that adjustment or what that adjustment's going to be or what money I need if they make that adjustment. And so that's why I'm here today, because again, it's not clear on the agenda that came out on Friday if that affects the court or not. But I'm just asking counselors to please not address the court's budget until such time that I receive the information that I've requested numerous times, that be given to me. The copies of checks, bills that have been paid. Again, statutorily, I'm required to be accountable for that budget, but that's hard for me to do when I'm not getting monthly reports. When we're 4 months into it and I can't tell you how much money's in those budget lines. I don't think that you all can even properly make an adjustment if we're 4 months behind in getting this information.
Judge, yeah, if, we'll see if we can get that straight. You were having the same problem with the previous, city clerk administrator. You guys never got anything settled. It was back and forth, and you could never understand what was going on with the, between the court and the previous, city clerk administrator. So this has been going on a long time. Let's see if we
Well,
can finally put a stop to this.
Right. In all due respect, sir, since I took office in 2020, I did not get my checks, but I did get monthly reports timely. We then had to come back and ask for copies of those payments. So that was in 2020 when I was elected. It's been an ongoing problem since 2020, but it's getting progressively worse. So I'm just asking that in order for me to be confident in approaching you and you all to be confident in the decision-making of this, that you postpone anything to do with the court's budget, that the numbers be put back to where they were, and that then we can sit down and properly talk about it with all of us being educated. Again, I sent you everything that shows what my budget was approved at. But yet when it came out, it was short. And so all I'm asking is that you table anything to do with the court to allow me the proper opportunity to educationally come in there and talk to you all. Because right now I have no idea where I'm at budget-wise. And that is unacceptable. It really is unacceptable. Whenever I'm standing here saying I'm accountable for that budget, but I'm not getting the checks. I have not gotten a check since Blythe left there. I'm not getting my reports. So I don't even understand how any budgets can be looked at right now if the departments aren't getting that information either. If it's not accurate right now, then I don't know how that can even be on the agenda.
Okay. Have you come in and talked to the finance director at all? We've lost the sound.
Sorry, I have talked to her numerous times. I have emailed her. She's emailed me back. Those were provided in the packets that were emailed out and delivered. Those communications were there. And so this is something that I have attempted to address numerous times throughout the last few months. And I've been told.
Okay,
I'm
Judge,
busy.
I think what we could do is, let you and I both go in at the same time and visit with the finance director, and maybe we can get an explanation on it.
And now that's fine with me. I just am asking that mine not be addressed today because it is on the agenda. Something about budget adjustments, again, I'm not permitted to get the agenda ahead of time. So there's not a lot of time for me to come in there and say, okay, does this affect me? Is this anything about me? It's like last minute. And then I have to sign in as public comment. Because again, I've requested numerous times to be put on the agenda and I'm never on.
Okay, could we get a motion to postpone?
What, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
This is just comments,
Yeah.
public comments.
Okay,
And we tried to
Yeah.
postpone it and it went back up.
If I might.
yes, sir.
We can get into that, flesh that out a little bit when we get to B. And determine if those items involved in this.
Okay, that'll be good then. Yeah, because gosh, we're still in public input. Okay, next on the agenda is councilors' comments. Councilors, yes, Council Bracewell.
And City Clerk, please see that my comments are verbatim and included for the record. In the minutes of the
Mr. Mayor, it has to be voted on.
to put,
Oh, a
Okay.
certain, statement. John, do you have the ordinance?
Well, it's within the rules of debate that I read last week. Statement in the minutes, member of the city council may request the privilege of having his or her statement on any subject under consideration entered in the minutes, subject to the consent of the governing body. Provided that any member shall have the right to cause his or her reasons for dissent or protest against the action of the council entered into the minutes without consent. So both consent and dissent are allowed. The dissent doesn't need the consent of the council. The statement of the councilor does need the consent of the council.
all right, I move that my comments be applied to the minutes on, for the record of this comment I'm about to make.
It says, statement. So the bold statement.
I think she's asking that her statement be allowed.
So I made a motion that my.
It says a
statement be
member of the
allowed.
city council may request the privilege of having his or her statement on any subject under consideration entered in the minutes, subject to the consent of the governing bodies. She's made that motion. That's been seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Have to state as to why she's putting that motion on.
I don't read it that way.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Could we please stop with the comments? We've got, we're trying to conduct business. We're trying to conduct business.
I wasn't talking, so quit telling me that.
I didn't call your name out.
Didn't
You
have
got a
to.
second, so Counselor Miller?
I just wanted to make a comment. I've been here a long time and I always liked reading the comments from the public
Me too.
in the minutes. And I was wondering if we can put that back, because I did enjoy reading their comments. And then you know where they're coming from and you don't forget. I read something like, I remember it. When I just hear it, I don't always remember it. So I don't know, could we put that back into our minutes again? That,
If there's a motion. and a
Yeah.
second,
but it's not on the agenda today, but. And anyway, do you have to ask every time? Our counselor's comments should be there because of the reasons
I'm just saying that.
why they did it.
Under the rules of debate that we read the last time in Robert's Rules of Order, it says a member, she asked that it be verbatim.
Yeah,
Okay, and so in order to have it verbatim and be entered part of the record, there has to be a motion and a second. That's all.
every time.
Yes,
We can't do it across the board.
no.
Okay.
So roll call?
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
Counselor Bateswell,
Aye.
Counselor Baker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
To the citizens of Ruidoso Downs. At the Meet the Candidates Public Forum, October of 2023, the question was brought up about moving our meeting time for the city council meetings back to 5:30 p.m. and every candidate at the forum agreed that if they were elected, they would change the time to 5:30 p.m. to allow our working citizens to attend. Thank you. So here we are still meeting at 2 o'clock. New Mexico State Statute 10-15-1 past 2021, letter D, requires that the affected body shall determine at least annually in a public meeting what notice for a public meeting is reasonable when applied to that body. This city council, this governing body consisting of these 4 individual councilors, is the affected body. And we are required to determine when we will have public meetings. Yet this mayor is blocking us from fulfilling the requirements
of that state statute. Additionally, at the last city council meeting, this governing body under New Mexico State Statute 3-11-5A, also passed in 2021, we did not confirm 2 appointed officials and 2 employees of the municipality. So this mayor is required by that same statute to, I quote, submit the name of another person to fill the appointed office or to be employed by the municipality at this meeting, yet he failed to put that on the agenda. As a governing body, we are trying to do what we were elected to do for the good of the city and the will of the citizens of the city of Ruidoso Downs. But this mayor is intentionally blocking us and is negligent in fulfilling his oath of office by acting contrary to the state statute. Thank you.
Any other mayor, or comments?
I think Councilor Lacewell explained it all.
Okay,
I have one mayor though. And this Friday especially, I came in to get my packet. What troubles me, because I've been here so long, when I've seen something on the agenda that I want discussed or told what it's all about, we don't have that. We get it on Friday. Our meeting's on Monday. The clerk's not here on Friday. I can't ask her. Huh?
I was here,
I came in Friday.
and that's Friday too.
I was here last Friday. Nobody was here and the mayor came. And we don't have long enough. It's supposed to be 5 working days from the time you get the agenda to the meeting. I've checked every place. It's 5 working days. Carol always got it out on Wednesday. We had the meetings on Monday. If I get this on Friday afternoon and I can't get anybody to talk to about it, any questions I have, now I hear we've got to have an appointments again. There's no way you can be ready on Monday and get your packet on Friday. And I would like to have that changed. There's no way. It was this thick.
and I think I recall from on the council that we did get those on.
Wednesday. We don't have time to go through it, getting it Friday afternoon and a Monday meeting at 2. That needs to be changed, just for
Can we get,
working with your council, for one thing, and doing right for with the city. We don't have time.
can we get those out by Wednesday?
Just depends how big that agenda is and what's attached to it.
Well, Carol never
We
had,
don't have any technical difficulties, and by law, we have 72 hours to put them out, 72 hours prior to.
Ma'am, we need you to quit. You know, it's pretty bad when one of the new counselors, Counselor Proctor, could not be heard by you people and had to say something about it. And that's pretty sad when you have a new counselor that had to tell you people that he couldn't talk over you. So,
Recognition.
yes, sir.
Okay, I believe that was at the last council meeting.
Yes.
And that's when the deputy chief was sitting over here and he quieted everybody that's talking over there. Then when he was talking himself to somebody else, that's when I got onto him. Because I just want to try to over talk to him and they used to respect what went on.
Yeah, and they can't, if they're talking, they can't be listening to you when you're trying to present what a business. So, yes. Yeah, we don't need the comments. We don't need it. It's distracting to the people up here that are trying to do their job and conduct city business.
Mayor, one more thing, because
Yes.
Ellie said that she was here. Yes, you might have been here, but you weren't in your office when I came in. And then I saw the mayor for a few minutes outside. But what I'm saying, it's working days. Weekends don't count on this. We gotta be able to talk to somebody. We ought to be able, if we have a question, now we don't have time to ask a question of City Hall. The city council does not have any support.
Well,
And
I think we can get that out
Okay.
sooner.
Thank
Because I do recall that they used to come out
yeah,
then, so
and she has an
we'll see what we
assistant.
can do.
Carol didn't. You have an assistant.
That'd be greatly appreciated. That could happen.
Yes, definitely,
Okay,
definitely.
I think we can get that done.
I may be old, but I still work, so I don't have time always to do this unless I have time, and we should be awarded that time. Thank you.
Any other council comments? Mayor's comments done. This takes us to the monthly reports. Jeanette, you want to lead off? Get it over?
Hi, Mayor, members of council. For the month of December, I had one demolition permit for the Economy Inn that burned down. I think it's almost done to be demolished. And one animal license, no cases, nothing like that for the month. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So that, I was under the impression the building that was demolished had asbestos in it. Was there, hazmat people involved?
No, there, I have an asbestos, report.
Okay,
Yeah.
great news. Thank you.
Counselor Baber.
That was my question too, because somebody called me and asked me about it, and I didn't know.
No, they did turn in a report.
It wasn't asbestos? Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you, Jeanette. Joey, as long as you're up.
Well. Deep subject, George.
It-
I'll make it quick and simple. We're gonna be here all day if not.
Yeah,
Mayor's, members of council for the month of December for Public Works. I'm gonna go over the grants real quick with y'all, so you know where we're at, where we stand on the 12 grants we currently have. The east and west circle is still on delay. We can't get fire hydrants, we can't get fittings, so it's been postponed until March. We have, two CDBG projects. The first one, the Valley View, is in design. The second is a cash match. We've actually got a grant that covers our match for the CDBG, which is good. We have an asset management plan we'll talk about later. It's been, we're ready to award it to the engineer and firm to complete the asset management. Park Lane and Westview have been closed out. South Central Road, we have a grant, we received money. We're gonna start on it in the spring. Harris Lane improvements. I've submitted the disbursement request and we're waiting for the funds to come in. They should be in the next week or two. We'll start on it on early spring. It's currently being designed by the engineer to include drainage. Capital outlays, we have the new city hall. It's in design. The architects are working on it. We're hoping we'll have something finished in the next 60 days at least, hopefully sooner. Museum repair monies. We have a capital outlay from 22. That's part of the stuff I'm bringing up in a few minutes that we need to approve to finish the repairs on the building so we can move forward with the city hall. We just got a new capital outlay last year by Mr. Vincent, and we got that money just sitting there waiting for construction to start, use it for construction. And while we're discussing that part, the 250,000 was brought up. That 250,000 lodger's tax was given for repairs on the museum. There is a line item in the budget for me to use that money to repair the museum. So that is there. Plus, there's also some NEU money, which was federal money that was given to us from the COVID, and there's some of that money is allocated to spend on the museum for the city hall also. The last two on grants is we just received a DOT TPF for some chip sealing on some roads. Various roads, received them for Reservoir Drive, which we will put out to bid this summer also. And on that, I'm going to a class tonight. I leave to go to Cruces to go to a class for a couple days to become certified for the federal grants for the city. It is now a requirement to apply for them to have somebody certified. So I'm gonna go do that just so we have it done. All right, departments. The maintenance department had 3 work orders during Christmas. They hung Christmas lights. Helped the fire department install a new furnace at the fire station. The mechanic shop, we did 7 work orders. We replaced we have a 97 backhoe that's completely shot. We rebuilt it from the head up. So he got that done during December. And we replaced the whole exhaust system and turbo and a cat roller. Parks department, it is a everyday battle to keep these bathrooms across the street operational. The kids in this town will tear them up, kick holes in the wall, light them on fire. You go the next day, clean them up. Chief and his officers come down, we do what we can, and they do it again the next week. So my poor parks guys are spending 30 hours a week trying to keep the bathrooms open for the kids, which is very frustrating. We have cameras set up and we can't seem to catch anything. They're good criminals, I guess.
So there is,
Yeah, just a second. Yes, yes, Counselor.
speak to Joey, you have cameras over there around the restroom?
Yes, sir.
Now, there is a camera that faces from the front of the building from Chief's Department. It looks across there, but the resolution is so.
Well, I don't know why the resolution would be bad. I spent a lot of money for that camera.
So you
It's
got
down
that,
over there. And we bought game cams, you know, they're pretty cheap and efficient. We had them on top of the building on the senior citizen, climbed up some up off the fence and ripped them down and threw them across the parking lot. So now we put a pole up. They're still trying to climb a 2-inch pole up in the air. It's very frustrating because a lot of people say, well, just close the bathrooms. But I don't want to do that because there's so many good people that do. You know, it's just really hard to, we went through a string of bad luck over there recently and it's pretty bad. We spent probably $8,000 this year trying to fix bathrooms.
do you have, will those cameras give you face recognition?
No, you just get, they're just motion activated, so it catches who walks in and out. You know, of course, we can't put them in the bathrooms, so we can't ever,
But entering the bathroom,
we catch them from the outside, but then it's a whole nother, did that kid do it? Did that kid do it? You know, who did the damage? When did they do it? We check them every morning at 6. So it's been really tough. I've talked to Chief. He's gonna have the officers go by and we're gonna lock them up at night.
what time do you lock up?
I think
Counselor,
9 o'clock, Chief.
9 o'clock.
You know, so we're gonna do that and see if that helps and I don't know. It's very frustrating because that bathroom's used by 30 baseball teams in the summer. We have less problem with those than we do the locals lately.
Counselor Baber, you had something.
It was just the same thing. What time are you closing?
We close it at 9.
At 9?
Yes, sir.
The kids allowed to play out there till 9?
Till 9. That's the ordinance in the park. And so his officers are trying to go by if they're not busy and lock them and
Is it the same bunch that's doing
I
it?
kind of think so, but until we get something to prove it, it's pretty
Right.
tough. Yeah, we gotta keep an eye on them and anybody, please keep an eye on them because, you know, we want those bathrooms for all the citizens.
Probably the same bunch as caused the post office to have to start shutting down. Everybody gets penalized.
Yeah.
And then you're back to this, if they're juveniles, is there really gonna be that much done?
Yes, sir.
That's a parent problem more than it is the kids. Anything else, counselors?
The other question I wanted to ask you is what Miss Miller was saying about the 250. If we had to use that 250, do we use that or save that for us and use all the federal money we
We're
can?
gonna use all the free money we can because that's lodger's tax, but lodger's tax is dedicated for specific things and that money's dedicated for promotion. So it's building the building we can promote to bring people into the downs. So we can't move that money, you know, to go pave a road over here. And so that's a misconception I've heard lately, especially on Facebook, is I'm paving a park, but I'm not fixing a road. Well, it just, people weren't informed. That's a park. I can't use it to pave a road. You know, I've got 40 road grants already coming in. We're doing what we should. You know, and I invite any of y'all to come see me and we can talk about it and I can educate you some. You might educate me some.
I'll make that same offer to you counselors. My office is open anytime. Anytime you want to come and visit,
I think we can all get along if we just try.
well,
The office is open, you want an appointment, so you still need.
well, you know, another misconception. If you come down here and I'm not here, you're gonna be pretty unhappy. And if I'm not here and you come back again, if you make an appointment, I'm gonna try to make darn sure I'm here. That's for you more than it is me, but that gets misapplied. People that wanna see problem all the time. You know, now that you bring that up, what we are going through is more than it has been as far as the intensity with hatred. We'll call it what it is. Every small
God, I hope it's not
New Mexico, every small New Mexico municipality it has the same thing. That's the municipal league. You've been up there, once and, years ago, and you can learn so much from those Molly courses and that kind of thing. I can remember attending one of those, and Hector Balderas at that time was the Attorney General. He sent two little attorneys, Santa Fe attorneys, with their suits and their polished shoes and this kind of thing, and they gave some information that was just awesome. I couldn't believe. And so, at the end of it, I raised my hand and I said, it appears to me the smaller the municipality, the more friction and the more problems. And they said, Counselor, you're exactly right. The smaller the municipality. So I think examples would be, if you go to Albuquerque, Las Cruces, maybe Farmington, maybe Clovis, they don't even know who the mayor is and could care less. If they do know who the mayor is, they don't know who a newly elected councilor is and this kind of thing. One thing, about half of us here are related. We're like a family. And I don't have to tell you about families. It's hard to be an elected official in a smaller town. And they finished by saying, you're absolutely right. The smaller the town, the harder it is. And they said, we got called down to a situation to go down and help because the situation was just getting out of control. And they said that place was Weed, New Mexico. And they said those old ranchers are not only, were they mad, all of them had a rifle in their pickup and they were ready to use it, you know. So this is a problem. This is the problem that we have. And gossip and rumors, so many times you hear half of it. I don't know, you may not be old enough, but if you remember Paul Harvey, a famous newscaster, remember he said, and now for the rest of the story. Come into my office anytime, I'll tell you the rest of the story. I think a good example is somebody y'all know well, is Richard Ford. Months ago, he came into my office and wanted to know about a situation, regulation that we had. He and Fred both came in and said, Dean, why are you doing that? I mean, I explained it, and Richard Ford asked him, I think he will tell you, he said, oh, well, that makes sense to me now. Just misunderstanding. So come in, I guarantee you. And a couple of things you want, I have mixed emotions about it. Both of them are okay. Both of them have some weaknesses. It's a matter of neither one of them are going to be perfect, but we can try to pick the best. Yeah. Oh, Joey, forgot about you. Go ahead. Oh, you still here?
All right, for the
Did you get your, okay, go ahead.
For the streets for December, we did normal, we patched potholes, did a bunch of blading up on the gravel roads on the south end of town. We did a lot of moving brush. Green Tree sent me lists of brush piles that were not favorable for them to pick up, so my street guys went out and moved brush piles all over town so they could be picked up. So hopefully they picked them all up and we're in a good place now. Salted some roads and we installed a culvert for a new house that's gonna be built on Escalante below the secretary's house. Water and wastewater, they did 26 work orders, 11 locates and 3 emergency locates. New sewer tap on Sierra Lane. Get a house off of septic. And for last month for water production, the city produced about 8.2 million gallons. We sold 6.5 million gallons. We have a little over about 2.5 million in storage. So we're actually doing pretty good. There's a deal on here that talks about loss. You can't count that because we got so many tanks that that's not incorporated to, but we're doing okay on water. We have water, our rights are kind of restricted. We guess I'll go on a limb and say, we have plenty of water, but we don't have the rights to pump that water.
Right.
So that's where we're at, and we're constantly trying to find rights and buy water rights, and it's gotten very complicated, and as I understand, they got another new law on senior water rights the governor's pushing. It's gonna make it probably impossible to get done. So
To get more?
To get more, and that's what hurts is there's water rights right now available. There's 15 acre feet right down here that I can't get bought. We've tried and tried, and it's in a ditch, and those ditches rights are senior rights, and the people all want to argue with you and say we're taking their water away, but we're not. Actually, we're leaving the water in the river for them. We're taking it out of the ground, but that's an argument. So we keep trying, and maybe, I don't know what we're gonna do, but keep pushing it. All we can do. We own a little, probably close to 600 acre feet. We're limited to 23, 73 a minute. To truly pump out of the ground, which doesn't equal the amount of water rights we own, but we'll keep fighting that battle and hope it gets better.
Yes, sir.
Joey, the water rights on the old school property, are they still up for sale?
We've tried twice, and we tried to get the school to meet us in the middle because it's gonna cost a fortune in attorney fees. And they wouldn't meet us in the middle. And we've even discussed going after it, with our attorney and fighting it. I got a hydrologist that we use for everything, and he's really good. He said, y'all are just throwing money in the air, to get it done. Because those rights are senior water rights.
How far down the line do you gotta go?
It's not really, it's just any water rights we try to buy. They have to be in this river basin. But there's those, there's quite a few. There's the village leases some from the racetrack, which I hope that will stop one day, but I don't know how we can get involved in that. But if we could find some to lease or something, that would probably benefit us. As far as getting them bought and moved into ours, it would be tough.
Would the school lease them?
I don't know. We haven't talked about it. We kind of got sideways with them last time because they wouldn't work with us. They just want the money, but we could talk to them again. And I'm working on some deals on a subdivision that might happen. And if they have water rights, that's part of the stuff they're gonna turn those water rights to us if that's the case. So maybe
If you will come in and visit with me, Bob Miller and I were extremely close friends. And, there's a history behind this. I think you'll find it real interesting. The Westalls that owned that property when I was a kid, growing up, I knew the Westalls real well, and they owned that. When I'm trying to remember now, when they sold that, it was for the intention of building another school there. Bob Miller asked me, when I was just on a committee before I believe I was even, on, the city council. He said, because he said, I've got a council meeting, today, Dean, would you go to Ruidoso and represent, me, the mayor, or the city, and, what it amounted to, the decision was already made, I found out later. And at that meeting, I raised my hand, first guy said it should be, across the street where they built that new middle school. And because I had experience from Roswell. And when I was in Roswell, I was selected, as one of the representatives for the school district. I was from assistant principal at Goddard High School. And we went to Carlsbad to visit what they were doing. They were bragging on their facilities. It looked like a cottage campus. They even had a swimming pool. They had individual things. And they said, we thought about building another high school, but we decided to do this one and put everything, and they said it has pulled the community together. And I'm standing listening, as a spectator from administrators from all around. And they said, we don't want to make the mistake, we didn't make the mistake they did in Roswell. Because when they built Goddard High School, and this is true, we fought from then on. They said that one high school has done more to pull this community together than anything. The people from the poor side of the tracks, the wealthy, everybody, because they had that. I expressed that at the meeting in Ruidoso. I said, we do not have any school, and haven't had since the old Stetson School, in Ruidoso Downs. And if you build that new school down there, it would, because we're fighting with Ruidoso all the time at that time. This will pull us together more than any other thing. And so they had a committee that was listening to all of this. I found out later, and I gave some reasons. The superintendent stood up and actually said, this guy's got a good point. The traffic on Gavilan Canyon, this kind of thing's already bad. You start running buses. And he supported what I was trying to get done. So they fired him at the end of the next year. The school board up there, everything was going to go to the village of Ruidoso. I found out that it was a done deal. I had a person that was on that committee said, Dean, that was decided before y'all ever got up and talked. So anyway, there should have been a school there. And that property, you're correct, it had water rights with it. So I guess what has happened since then, the school sold the property, is that correct?
Correct. School sold.
Okay.
property and owns the water rights.
Now, what happened to the water rights?
The
School
school,
still owns it.
Okay,
but if they're
But they didn't
sitting
build-
there, why wouldn't they lease them?
You talk to them. I think the village was trying to lease them, but I'm not sure back then.
Oh.
yeah, John.
If I might just add, I think perhaps Counselor Baber might be helpful, but even with a lease, you've got to get the approval, they're attached to a ditch right. So you got to get the approval of the mayordomo of the ditch in order to, it's considered a move of that water right. So if any of y'all have connections with some of those people, it might be very helpful.
Well, I was told by that person and the under person, no matter what, it wasn't gonna happen.
Sorry.
Well, that's what, yeah, I know that one won't, but there's two places farther.
Well, no, but it's any of them along the way. The first one has the first right to.
Right.
And it's, so far it's considered an absolute refusal. Negotiations going on with the state engineer's office. For that not to be the case, that law has not been changed.
No.
And I'm the representative and John, for that joint use board that has to do with the treatment plant. Can't believe what that thing cost. But I'll give you a history too, because I was there when we were told you're going to build it. And they blame Ruidoso more. Joey may know about all of this. They said the village of Ruidoso's had 20 years. You haven't done anything. And Ron Curry from Santa Fe, we were going to vote on it. He said, you forget the vote. I'm telling you what you're going to do. And he wasn't kidding. I think if we hadn't of, it'd been a fine of $17,000 a day.
Not to build it?
Well, if we resisted and if we didn't do that. And I'm doing this from memory, but if I recall, they've got the Santa Fe has a stick up there.
Yeah.
So, from the treatment plant down, and you're very perceptive with apparently what you know. I'm pleasantly surprised. You know a lot more than I do. The valley down there has given a lot of trouble.
Right.
A lot of trouble, and you know the history there. But that's the way we are in New Mexico. We're gonna find stuff to fight about, even if it's here in the Downs. But
We need to get our House of Representatives to go fight that battle for me.
He's up there.
What we tried to.
and he's done a great job.
Right before from Rhonda, and it's the same holdup.
I know.
It's killing us. We want to buy it. We got the stuff to do it, but we got to get,
They don't want to sell you them either?
they want to sell us.
Oh.
But the ditch people, there's always like I guess it's a chairman or a vice chairman on the ditch,
Well, yeah, the Maridomo and stuff.
which was Cheryl and it was Dusty.
Right.
And I went to them many times and they wasn't gonna happen no matter what.
I thought it was if you had to offer it to them if they wanted to buy it, but if they didn't, then it was open.
They fight it.
No.
I hate to move on. This is really a good discussion,
Any questions?
but, before we let this guy go, counselors, I can't tell you how valuable this employee is. I have depended on him and asked him for advice. I don't know how he keeps up with all he has to do, but,
Me neither.
oh, and as long as we're talking about the village, they would take him in a second and have tried to do that. So anyway, he doesn't like me to brag on him, so go sit, go. Next, if we get the, fire department, Chief Keck.
Here, Council. So I guess with what I got today is, since I got started over here, our heater in our bays was out. And I got that, up and going with a new one put in at no extra cost, just the cost of the heater. And we got heat back in there, so we don't have to worry about our trucks freezing in the cold weather. The light parade, we all participated in, had a good turnout, with volunteers. And, right when I first came on to, we had our main engine go down and I had to get somebody in here quick, get it fixed and get it back up and going. So we had protection in the city still, which I got done fairly quickly and back on the road, so.
Yes,
Question, Chief.
certainly, yes.
Does the fire trucks over there have block heaters in them?
No, they don't.
They don't.
No, they don't.
How hard would it be to get them installed? So if you had something go wrong in there, while there's nobody there, you could block them, keep it freezing.
That would help with the motor, but it wouldn't do anything with the pumps. I don't believe you can put a block heater in any of the pumps. So.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Council Proctor, one of the things that is a super problem over there is that back wall, I guess be, the west wall.
Well, I understand that shop over there, because I started out in that shop down there, and I know it's,
So you already know what,
it's a booger.
Heath and I talked, 4 or 5 days ago when it was really cold. He stayed here and, we tried to figure out, he had tried to find some solutions. I think he finally went to Walmart and got some blankets, but he was down here in that cold, stuffing those things, trying to, because that whole wall is rusted out. And, if it ain't one problem, it's another. Situation is the guy that's got the property next door has had a feud going with us for a while. He says we have encroached. It's been back and forth. It isn't true. We've looked at the property line and this kind of thing. We're not. But he's finally allowed us to get back there and work on it. There's not enough room between our property and his. So depending on what day you talk to him and what kind of mood he's in, he'll either gonna let us get back there and work on that. Problem is, also, it's gonna be extremely expensive. But all of that
We
is,
temporarily fixed it for now.
that is,
Metal and insulation and everything, even in the snow and everything and wind blowing in there. That night we did freeze up over there. I was there till 10:30 and
working in that cold, I might add.
what I did was just put up some plastic and then I built a berm with dirt up on it until I can get with Public Works on Monday. And I was able to thaw my pipes out and they haven't froze up since. On Monday, got with Joey and those guys came down and we were able to put up some metal and some more insulation, and I haven't had a problem since. But it is an issue, and another issue we'll have to later on address with fixing it properly. But for now, it's good.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Is that it?
I believe that's it.
All right, thank you.
Oh, one more thing. My door is always open to anybody that wants to know. So, and answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I believe that's all of the department heads we have that are here.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I might, I was just reviewing in my mind the motion to approve the consent agenda. It didn't have a second, but it's not required to have a second. It can be approved with a single motion. Not a second, I think there was a motion.
It wasn't approved.
It was.
There was the consent agenda was not approved.
But it
But
was
there
not
a
approved?
motion. What he's saying was that there was a motion
There
on
was
the
a
table.
motion, and all this required to approve consent agenda, not a motion and a second, it's just a motion.
Point of order, I was at the Santa Fe training and they said the only time that works where you don't need a second is if it goes into discussion. And it did not go into discussion.
Well,
So, okay.
So it's still dead.
so if you don't have a consent agenda, so that would be old business to be discussed at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think finally we get down to the real city business here, counselors. Under new business. First item is item A is discussion and possible action on appointment of. Was that covered?
That's a go. That's a go.
That's a go?
Yes.
That's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go ahead with action. The appointment of Brian Roberts for the Economic Development Board vacancy. Counselors,
We could have a motion in a second, Mr. Mayor.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, now you can have a discussion.
okay, discussion. He's done a great job on the planning and zoning. Luther Light doesn't get recognition, but he's been awesome. And when I was on the council, as counselors sometimes do, I was not for him at all. But over the years, I've become very appreciative of the service that he does for the city. With no thanks and no monetary, but all of those people on the PMZ are doing a good job. Brian is very positive. I don't know where he comes from, but he likes everybody. Both sides, he likes everybody. It's got to be something wrong with him.
He's just an honest man, Mayor.
Oh, what?
He's just an honest man.
He is for a fact. He is for a fact. So we're very fortunate to have him on that planning and zoning, and I was pleased when he told me at one time, anything that he could do for the city, for me to bring his name up, and I'm bringing his name up.
Mayor, I like
Yes,
his
Council.
term, common ground, because we all have common ground here. I like that.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
There's already a motion on the table. We just need a roll.
Okay, all you need is a vote?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I ask one question?
yes, sir.
What is it that he's doing on this? What does the Economic Development Board do?
You want to come on back to the front, would you please, sir?
Well, I don't think the economic, I'm sorry, I'm Brian Roberts, loudmouth extraordinaire. The Economic Board has not been constituted for a while, but it is part of the Code of Ordinance. With my appointment, we'll still need a shortstop and a left fielder. We're still too shy, but I'm hoping that maybe somebody in the business community especially would be interested. At any rate, the idea is to promote our city. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why we're not, US News and World Report, best place to retire. This place is amazing. The weather, I mean, we've been watching the weather. I'm embarrassed for the whole rest of the country. It all slips off to our east and we're just sitting in the Shangri-La. It's lovely here. And I would love to promote it. And I walk around and I see a few empty storefronts, making notes, thinking about wonder who owns that, wonder if they'll cut a deal for somebody. Maybe we can figure out a way to start bringing in some businesses that might be interested, especially if there was either, a break the city could give them or a break the folks that own it. There's a handful of empty storefronts. I'd love to see those filled up. That presentation for zoning a while back on that potential development in Avalon. I mean, all of those things could just really help the city pop. And I think we've got every bit as much going on here as the village. And so I'd love to see us take a little more ground.
So you promote the town.
Exactly. You promote the town and you try to figure out the things you can do to get out of the way of free enterprise so that the town can grow and prosper. Because those empty storefronts can't be adding anything to the tax base.
So, if you're appointed, then we still need one more member,
Two.
Yeah,
the code says 7 and you would be, if there's
Okay.
3 on there, you'd make 4, I'd make 5.
Well, I just happen to know that we have a counselor that is involved in the business world.
There you go.
Now, I won't mention who it is, but
No, I wouldn't know either.
I might, we might
If they could.
We might
feed-
talk
if
to
they
him
could
and see if
feed
he
that-
would be interested.
That board, that would be, anything that feeds the board for economic development might be handy.
Mayor, I have a question. So Council Proctor is on that board. How many counselors can you have on the board?
Well, 2 would be okay because it wouldn't be a quorum.
There you go.
Well, except that you're on the board too, so.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah, you are by ordinance. By ordinance, you are.
All right,
You're the 7th guy.
I'll give my notice that, today that I would like to quit then in that case.
You can't, because I can't quit.
There you go. Anyway, the idea is try to get some things going. There's not funds available. There's not, a whole lot of horsepower, but there could be things that we could get creative about and just try to brainstorm. The other thing too is my understanding, I may be very wrong on this, is that without an economic development board that's active, we don't qualify for certain grants. And so if all we have is an economic development board that's at least trying, if that means we can land a little more free money for the city, it's worth my time.
There's tons of grants out there for economic development.
Yeah.
Tons.
So we don't have to come out of our pocket?
See, there's another reason among the 200,000 reasons. Joey knows so much about these grants and this kind of thing, and he's good at it. Also, counselors, just so you'll know, the municipal league has told us that they have attorneys that will work with anybody on these grants and help us out until you actually get ready to finalize it, then they won't do that part for us. They've got attorneys that they said they'll help us. Okay.
Mayor, I want
hold
to
it,
say
Brian.
something
Hold
before
it.
Brian leaves. Since tourism is so close of a committee as economic development, I would like to see those two. We don't have a tourism committee. I would kind of like to see those two work together, and maybe you could be economic development and tourism. We don't have a tourism.
Well, I would think that tourism is economic.
I would too, but I know there's a lot of money in the state for tourism. So,
Well, the reason I
I
was
don't know if
interested
there's-
is I understood we were missing out on grants.
Mhm.
And that if all it meant is the other thing is, I think our overall plan has to get revised. It doesn't have to be changed much. It just has to be current.
Mhm.
And I think right now it's a few years out of date. And if nothing else, I mean, if we didn't do a dang thing except rubber stamp it, and say, okay, now we're active, we'd at least be qualifying for some grants while we get our feet underneath us.
Well, since we're such a small town, I don't see why they couldn't be combined. Economic development and tourism. We're trying, well, we tried once to get, I kept, keep Redwoods Downs beautiful.
Yep.
But we're trying to, get Ellie, what did you do a whole agenda on that to share it with Parks, our committee with Parks, and it didn't go through. The last council voted it out. So I was gonna do the same thing with beautification and have it a Parks and Rec committee along with beautification. And remember, it was voted down. And I don't see our small town like this, we can join these committees
I think
together.
that's, you know, originally when we realized we needed this committee back active,
Mhm.
zoning with Luther, and I have to put in a good word for Celeste. Celeste, who is on zoning, has a degree in urban planning.
Mhm.
And that is why I think she is the person to lead that committee. She's been trained on it. I don't think that's what she does in her day-to-day stuff, but that is what her education is, and I respect that greatly. I think it'd be great. We can, anything that we can do to bring some more business and some more dollars into the coffers. Because I tell people all the time about just how wonderful this place is. There's not too many places you could find with our climate. I mean, they just got 10 inches of snow on the most southern ski resort in the country. It has real skiing.
Yeah.
And there's golf courses all over the place. There's horse racing, and gambling,
Yeah.
and there's the nature. I sat at a, don't get mad at me, but I sat at a council meeting at the Village, not to blow their horn. But one of the things that they had is they have a gentleman there, and not only is he involved in bringing in a $200 million movie production into the Village, he's also managed to get a world-class triathlon type event, which is mountain biking and trail running, that sort of sporting. And they're gonna have like an 8 or 9 year commitment with televised like grand finals and stuff in the future. This area is a wonderful area for recreation all year round. And there's no reason in the world we don't get a slice of that. So anyway.
Yeah, there's one thing that we have that they don't have. And I've been saying, for the last 20 years, when I was on the council, that our time was coming because they have, they've saturated their boundaries so much.
Yep.
And they've got so many rules and the prices are so high. I said, it's just a matter of time it's coming. And the thing that we have, they don't, is Highway 70.
Yep.
And, they envy us.
Very well, well said, well said.
Well, Brian,
I don't know when our first meeting is gonna be. I'll get with Celeste and find out, or she'll tell me.
February 14th, Brian.
What is it?
February 14th.
All right, sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan to me.
Right.
Okay, that's great.
You bring the sandwiches and I'll bring the beer.
I was gonna say, or vice versa.
I'm back in. I forget I said I was gonna quit. That sounded like a good deal.
I'll see if I can't find some good person.
One thing, but Mayor, right quick, I know you said some incentives.
Yep.
I don't think that our city can offer a whole lot of incentives in tax giveaway or cash giveaway.
Right.
Until we get something rolling.
I'm putting words in her mouth. She did not say that. I was thinking that without funding, there's a limited amount of things that a committee can do. We can try to throw some bait on the water. We just have to figure out whether it's in our interest or not.
We can't offer as much as what Rio Coastal's offering to get all this other stuff in because,
Okay,
you know, Ben, that's what I'm just saying.
that's
That
fine.
would be something for us discussing that. And then
Yes.
Come back to here.
Exactly. It all is gonna have to come back to the
Yep.
council.
And,
Right.
thank you for mentioning that. That's something else we have that the village doesn't have that we do to that extent, and that's water.
Yep.
They, well, Bob Miller told me when that Riverside well was first started, he said that thing can pump. It's just unbelievable of the amount but then we go back to the regulations that the state puts on us, but we do, I know when I was looking for property, I saw some places in the county that I really was considering. But I bought a lot in Auger Free Estates because I knew we were gonna have water, because I'm just remembering, the Griffiths. The Griffiths. I'm trying to remember how that came about, but there was an agreement that the city would always furnish Auger Fria with water, no matter what.
I'm sure it's because the city took this.
We bought those springs,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, that spring used to belong to the Griffiths Auto Free. That was part of their.
Yeah. And that's how, yeah,
Hey, if you don't mind, Mayor,
Go ahead.
so what happened is when I come in the Griffiths back in 54, when they started that over there, agreed with the city, and the city said, we'll put the lines in if you'll let us, if you, they would, Uncle Free would put the lines in, and they would let the city of Ruidoso Downs take the water rights. Right. And disperse it through the tanks. And so the old tanks, they had one new one put up, one rebuilt, and I think Joe told me here last week, just had another new tank put up.
Nice.
What, 1,000,000 gallons?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that spring is not doing good as it used to. It used to pump like 420 gallons.
Right.
It should run 420 gallons.
right.
It's down to about 325, 360.
170.
Yeah, I was gonna
170
say it's
now.
not in the hundreds.
So that's a minute.
And that's what's hurting me is with water rights, we got supplemental. I can move them from there to the well, but I can only pump that amount.
He can't go with that amount of water pumping. So that's where that came from. So the lines and stuff over there in the Agua Fria area and the Escondido Hills is far older than a lot of them that's up on, Apollo Hill, Colorado, going down through there. I mean, and they need to be rebuilt.
Well, I know that
Was.
older. They did rebuild.
Every line in Agua Fria is brand new.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, now.
I know it.
All right.
But.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Actually, you knew more about the history than I did, and I thought I knew quite a bit, but there's quite a history behind all of that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Lakeland,
Aye.
Counselor Weber,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item B under new business is discussion and possible action on the adoption of resolution 2024-01, a resolution approving the budget adjustment request for the second quarter of the 2024 fiscal year.
That motion you stated it.
Okay. It's a motion.
Y'all know, we've
That's
got
the
a
one.
positive motion to approve,
Yeah,
and then you have discussion.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Okay, I think Mary was gonna get into this with us, Mayor, and discuss it.
Okay, thanks. That's right.
Yeah.
Mary, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, members.
you were going to give the council and specifically Counselor Proctor some answers to some questions that the council.
Yes, sir.
has.
Yes, sir.
So I guess, well, here, or maybe.
I thought, do you
Okay.
need me to repeat those, Mary?
No, sir, I would like to go over every page and explain exactly what I'm doing and why it shows the way it does.
Okay.
First question is, what do you understand the budget to be? First question.
What do I understand the budget to be?
Yes, sir.
Balance and checks.
Okay. The budget actually is an estimation of what our expenditures and revenues will be for the next year. So it's projections. The budget has to be in balance as far as our cash, our revenues, and our expenses. But the budget is a living document. Now, when you talk about debits and credits and cash and balancing, you're talking about actual cash flow, which is balancing the bank reconciliations to the general ledger. Accounts payable is expenditures going out and revenues is money coming in. The budget is a living document because when we present that to the state, we are estimating what our revenues are going to be for the new year, and we are estimating what our expenditures are going to be for the new year. So when I submit that budget to Santa Fe, I am through projectional process, estimating what the revenues will be and estimating what the expenditures are going to be for that year. So when we get new grants that come in after the budget has been submitted, when we receive those monies, that is going to require a budget adjustment because those grant monies are not put into the budget. Even though we know that we're possibly going to get them, we don't put them in the budget until we have a signed document saying, yes, you've been awarded, yada, 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 yada. Okay? So the budget is a living document. And in a perfect world, you know, we would have foresight and know what all the revenues and expenditures are going to be for that future year. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So I'm going to start on page 1, which is why budget adjustments will not always equal 0. Now, if departments are adjusting their budget within, they don't have enough money in this expense line and they have way too much on this one, it's an in and out. They're moving money from one expenditure line to another. So there's a debit and a credit moving the money around. If I have money or an expense that comes up that was not planned for, there's going to be a one-sided entry to put the money in that budget so that it can be correct. So I want to start with page 1. And I know that the judge was on earlier explaining that she submitted her budget for the preliminary and there was a $50,000 adjustment. Yes, in the preliminary budget, when we go to the workshops and then I submit the preliminary budget, I make it very clear to all departments and all counselors when I submit that preliminary budget that I do not have accurate health insurance figures. I have an estimated expenditure on that based on what they said the increase would be. In this particular year, it was a 6% increase. So in order to get the budget in balance and estimate what those insurance costs would be, I took the prior year rate and added 6% to estimate what the actual health insurance benefits would be. Between the preliminary budget that was approved and the final budget that is approved, I do receive the actual insurance rates. Those actual insurance rates are inserted into the budget as actual. Now, you know, life goes on and we have employees that have children and maybe they had a child where they didn't have a child. So there are changes in dependence on that insurance as well. And that all changes the value of insurance. For the court's insurance, we had an employee who had a family coverage cost that was in the preliminary budget. In the final budget, it was determined through HR that particular employee now was only a single employee without the children's insurance included. So when those figures come over from HR, they're corrected in the budget from the preliminary to the final. And that is where the difference came from on the insurance line for courts. Now, I went and I met with the judge several times. I explained to her what those changes were, why it happened, that every year in the preliminary phase, I do not have actual insurance rates, but between preliminary and final, I do have those. So I told her that if she needed the extra $50,000 on her budget, she needed to bring that before council and ask for the increase and put it on whatever line she needed. But for me, when I do the budget, the HR, the insurance and all of that, the rate, the wages, all of that is done through HR and pulled over into finance. So that's why there was a difference. Now, in that same discussion, the judge called me and said, hey, it looks like you don't have enough money in there for the part-time position. It should be $25 an hour. So I told her, let me research. So I went and I researched, and sure enough, it should have been $25 an hour. I had inadvertently put $24. Now, when I get all those worksheets, all that information is done by hand data entry. So you can see where there can be keystroke error. But I went and told her I was going to correct that error and I was going to correct the insurance. And she said, well, what if I have another employee that comes in and they have a full family? I said, then we'll have to do a budget adjustment because those are liabilities the city must pay. It's not extra fluff in the budget for her. It's expenditures that the city is liable for. I said, so those adjustments will do. And she said, okay. So there are two budget adjustments in here. The first two lines are for her. And I did get permission from her to fix these lines. I will be more than happy to remove them. If you guys don't want them in there, I'm fine with it. And those first two lines is the part-time positions. The $1,040 is the mathematical error from the dollar that I didn't put in, okay? The second line is the correction in the insurance line of the changes of the new status of the employees to make sure there's enough money in there to cover the city's liability. So in this particular budget adjustment that was done in August, actually it was done in September, her approval, I did not, because I discussed that with her and told her I would not make any changes to her budget without her telling me that's what she wanted to do. So I did that. And those first two entries are for the correction in her part-time salaried amount and the insurance correction for the insurance that I don't remember what I didn't do, but that is the correction to make those lines correct. Then you see the next budget adjustment was a movement for the police department from being posted in the wrong expense line. They want to move the money out of this 47. Actually, it's an increase. I'm sorry. This second line for 31, when I submitted the preliminary budget for approval to DFA, I had $104,000 in there for their LEPS money. My DFA analyst sent me an email back and say, no, you were awarded $107,000. And so they wouldn't accept the preliminary unless I made sure that I changed it to their figures. So the $2,400 credit amount is showing the revenue increase. And then the $2,400 on the debit amount is increasing their expenses to $107,000. So that is an in and out. I increased the revenue $2,400 to add from 104 to 107, and then I also increased the expenditures on that line. So the differences in that budget adjustment it's not in balance because I had to add to two lines in the court, and then I had to fix the revenue and expense line in the LEPS fund. So no, those will not be budgeted because one I'm increasing and the other one is an even move of increasing the revenue and the expenditures. So then if we move, and I lost my page, hold on. So with that being said, just on page 1, are there questions?
Mary, I have a question of the judge. Can we get her in?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I hope she's still on, yes.
She is. Lori, do you have a comment?
Judge, can you,
Yes.
can you hear Counselor Lacewell?
I do have a comment. So, what she's saying is not correct. Yes, on the bailiff position, that is correct. She had the wrong amount. She did fix that. The issue before you today is a little more complex than that, in that the executive branch has no right to adjust the budget once it's been approved. So she took the 50,000 or whatever it was out of the insurance line, and she put in $1,100 for the year, which makes us, that's not even enough to cover it. Number two is, again, I don't have the reports, so it's hard for me to really speak to you on facts. But I can tell you that I have to make things work within my budget. I'm responsible for that. At no time did I ever consent to the $50,000 being removed, ever. I was told I had to come back to council to ask that that be put back in. Again, I'm just asking that you not do anything where my budget is concerned until we have the opportunity to sit down. I have the numbers in front of me for the last 4 months to see where I'm at, to see if the insurance was overestimated. Do I need those funds for things such as safety issues, which I'm paying for out of my budget? Do I have that money there that I can use to address the safety concerns of the courts without having to come back and take it out of the general? Okay, that's part of it. But again, the executive branch doesn't have the right to take money out after the fact. I provide my budget, not that I'm required to, as a courtesy in February. If those numbers by the deadline set by the finance director, I do that as a courtesy. I'm not required. I can easily just submit it to council. I do it to make things more efficient. If she doesn't have the right insurance numbers by February, then why do I have that deadline? Why am I even complying? I'm complying as a courtesy to make things easier so that this does not happen and things like this do not occur. That's my whole reason behind that. And if that's not going to happen in the future, then there's no need for me to submit my budget in February. I can just wait and submit it at the workshop. But I never agreed to her removing that money from anywhere in my budget. The Cali situation, that was the amount agreed upon. That was the amount to be moved from the corrections fund over for the bailiff position. That was an error. Her fixing that error, I don't have a problem with. I have a problem with the money that was taken out of the budget. So that's why I'm asking that you, city councilors, do not vote on that part of this budget adjustment until she has me my reports, my checks showing what she paid, and everything is balanced so that I can come in and educationally discuss this matter with you. That's what I'm asking for. And you have emails. You have emails back and forth between me and Mary. Nowhere in there does it say, yes, Mary, go ahead and adjust the insurance line. That is untrue. It's not there. It was never agreed upon. I was told I had to come to city council to put those funds back in. And I told her, you're not allowed to take them out. So that's where we're at on that.
And that was done between the preliminary and final budget. She had those reports prior to the approval of the final budget.
I did not have those reports. I was
And I
told
made
through the emails.
And I
was
made
told
that,
there would be no changes.
I made that verbally clear in the preliminary budget hearing, in the workshop, before the final, in the preliminary approval process. It was made very clear. I was very vocal about it. There was nothing hidden or undermined with that.
Then
The
I think that
final
we need
budget
to probably
figures-
review that. I think those tapes need to be reviewed because I don't sit through every budget meeting. I go in for court only. So I think that when it comes to the court, those need to be reviewed to see if in fact you did say that. But again, I don't understand why I'm requested to give you my budget in February, if this is what's going to happen, then I'm not gonna do that in the future. I won't comply with the February. I'll just bring it in for the workshop. Because obviously the whole purpose of doing that isn't working, I guess you could say. Because if none of the numbers are right, and then you can come back 6 months later and change them, then why am I stressing out trying to get this in by your deadline, which last year was less than a week for me to get those numbers to you? So why am I doing that if the numbers aren't right, I guess is what I'm saying. If we don't have corrected numbers, then why do we have a deadline when we don't have accurate numbers to go in there to present to city council? You will see emails in the packet I gave you that say there will not be another workshop, which made me to believe whatever happened at the workshop, that was my budget. That's the funds I had to live by. And that's what I had to make work.
Mr. Mayor?
And that's what was submitted for the preliminary budget. And then between the preliminary and the final, we get the actual insurance rate. And that has to be put in there so that they are accurate. So the reason I asked for that information up front, whether you give it to me in a solid number or you break it out for me, because I can't tell. I've got to key all that back into every single department to see if we're in the red or the black. If you don't give me any figures, I have no way of knowing.
But in my
can't present
particular
anything.
budget, it went from whatever it was down to $1,100. That's not even enough to cover one employee for 1 month.
1,100, 11,000.
Or 11,000. So if that's what it is, then the overflow again should be able to be used for what the court needs.
And you can, I told you, you can do that, Lori. I told you could do that.
If I came back to city council and asked for additional funding, is what you told
Yes.
me. But the bottom line is that
that's correct.
When I get my final budget, and I've talked to multiple judges about this. When I get my final budget,
Final budget, those figures, yes, ma'am, and the final
After
budget
the
has those
worksheets.
figures in it.
after the work, I don't get that until August. So after the workshop, when they tell me this is what you have to live by, that's what I am assuming, that's what I have to live by. Not then 2 months later, I find out.
Judge Mary, and I'm reliving the same nightmare again. We had the same type of thing, button heads with the previous administrator, city clerk. I don't think anything ever got accomplished. I'm at a handicap, counselors. I'm not a money man. Math was my weak beginning in elementary school all the way through junior high and this kind of thing. It may be hard for y'all to keep up with what, but a part of the bottom line is, I will ask Mary this question when we get through. Are we abiding by state statutes? Because the state of New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll ask you right now. You've answered that. That's something that I wanted y'all to know. It's not that employees are out here just doing their thing. The state of New Mexico has more control over us than you might think. Now, we've had a suggestion that maybe it'd be good, Mary, for you and the judge get together and get this settled. This is going to carry us way too long in this council meeting the rate we're going.
Maybe throw a mediator in there.
Yeah.
Would you like to be?
So I guess for me, Mr.
I think that might be a good idea instead of going, unless the counselors, if you want to, we'll go all the way. John, you wanted something a while ago.
Well, I may either understand or misunderstand, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Is Lori, Judge,
Yes,
Eric,
yes.
what I understand
Yes.
each of you saying is that, if I understand what Mary's position is that the budget adjustment is based upon what the actual cost of insurance was as opposed to the estimated cost of the insurance. Is that close? Mary?
Correct.
So Judge,
That is correct.
if all she's doing is correcting the amount of the insurance from the estimated cost to the actual cost, and all those funds are within your budget, I don't think you want to be in a situation where your employees don't get the insurance that you want them to have.
That's correct. That's correct. The problem that I'm having though is that those lines can be moved at the discretion of the court. So for instance, let me give you an example and I'll keep it brief. My training budget was reduced by the prior city council, okay? Substantially. If this year, this budget year, it basically covers enough for me and an alternate judge to go to the required judge conference. It's required. There's no training, there's no money for training for any other staff member. If something else comes up, where am I going to pull that from? I have nowhere to pull it from.
I get
try to be
that.
very frugal every year. So my understanding is the bottom line of the budget that was approved is what I have to work with, period. And so I have to leave enough money in there for my employees' insurance. I understand that. But the executive branch cannot willy-nilly go in there and say, oh, taxes went down, so now we're going to pull $2,000 out of the tax line. Oh, insurance went down, we're going to pull out of that. Oh, Cassell went down, we're going to pull out of that. If I get my reports every month, like I'm supposed to, then I would have the ability to say, Cassell went down, I can move that money into training. Or the insurance went down, I can move that money and do the safety things that are essential for the court and the staff safety. I can pull those numbers and move them around. But whenever it gets changed after I go to the preliminary budget and I'm told there will not be another worksheet, that's the numbers, then that's what I walk away from there believing. So when I find out later that doesn't happen, that's a problem.
I get that. But this particular change, you understand that based upon the actual cost of the insurance for the additional employee as opposed to what the estimate was. And so I don't think you want us to be in a position where we don't pay that amount. I would suggest, this is my suggestion, Judge, and you work close enough to me that you can throw rocks at my window. So my suggestion is that you allow this budget change to happen because it's important to your department, and that you and Mary get together on these other issues that are larger issues so that you guys can sit down and have a real discussion about it. Because I think your concern is that the council or Mary is willy-nilly changing things. And I think her explanation of this is it's simply based upon the actual amount of the insurance cost as opposed to the estimated cost. And that's something that you surely want to have paid.
That's correct. However, it wasn't an addition to my insurance line. It was a reduction of $50,000 from my insurance line. So do you understand what I'm saying? This wasn't like she said, oh, the insurance is going to cost more, we have to add more money to that line. In fact, she said the opposite.
As I read it, it's an adjustment. $2,200.
But what she said in an email is there's really $53,238,000 missing. There's missing money. And Mary, do you know where that?
It's not. May I speak?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I'll tell my bit.
The money is not missing. Between the preliminary budget and the figures that she received for the preliminary budget in May that was submitted to GFA and the final budget that was submitted in July, the figures changed in the insurance. One time because the employee changed from having a full family, which cost the city $68,000 a year in liability insurance payments, down to a single individual. So it wasn't going in and stealing money from her. These liabilities are the city. And if she has two new employees and they have full family packages, and in the preliminary, I only have enough for single, guess what? Those are going to be added to cover the cost of the insurance. Now, if she wants to go in and move money out of her insurance and we can't pay it, that she can do that. But I need to make sure there's enough money to cover the cost that the city is liable for those insurance premiums.
And I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put the city in that position.
I know you wouldn't, Lori. I
But
know.
my issue is right, there's $53,000 negative from when I went to the workshop. When I got my final number and I was told that's your budget, live within it, there's $53,000 difference. Not added to it for the increase, not sitting there, it's gone. That's my issue. And
Yes, that's-
again,
I
I'm
corrected the
simply
insurance
asking,
liability.
I'm
Ladies,
simply
Mayor.
asking,
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Hold on just a
Mayor,
second.
Judge, this is Counselor Proctor.
yes,
Okay,
sir.
so you're trying to say that when you approved, when you turned in your budget for that year, okay, then when it came out, it was $53,000 shy of what you put it in for. Is that correct?
When I went to the, yes and no, when I went to the workshop and they sat and went line by line again and did their adjustments, they said, okay, this is your final budget. I leave there. Then whenever I get it in writing, it's short $53,000.
Okay.
So even if I had one employee that no longer had family coverage, then, and just had independent, just herself covered, there still should not have been that adjustment made. It without consent is what I'm saying. I should have the confidence in everybody, the executive branch, the legislative branch, to know when I walk out of there and you tell me this is the only thing that's on there and this is what I have to work with, that we're not going to have a secondary workshop. I've never had this happen before, ever. So that there is not going to be a secondary workshop. That's what you have. Make it work. And then it's 53,000 and some change short. And again, if I had the opportunity and I had my documents that I'm supposed to have every month, I would be more educated to sit here and figure it out. But whenever I don't have anything since August and we're into January, I cannot educationally come to you and talk to you about it.
Okay.
So I'm just
Question.
asking that those two things be.
Okay, Judge.
This Counselor Proctor again, if we get with Mary and she can give you the reports back from August of last year till date, would that help you understand what has been going on and what's happening?
It would, but I think that I still need to come back to city council and say, yes, I agree with that, or no, I don't. Because I can see how much the expenditures have been, how much they're going to be, and if there is an overage in the bottom line of my budget, can I use those funds for other things, such as the security for the court, such as additional training? Can those be used for that? I mean, I have that discretion. I understand that. But I
But
don't.
if you do,
I don't
if you
have
do
it.
use those, if you do use those and you pull it out of your insurance, and you put it somewhere else at your discretion, then when you get someone that comes in that's got a bigger family than the person you've got there now, then that insurance goes up and you don't have the money in that insurance program to buy insurance or cover insurance for that person that's got a family of four. Then when you
That
had
is
someone
correct.
for single.
So that's why I would need those reports to estimate and say, okay, I'm just gonna throw numbers out there because that's all I can do. I've got $40,000 in there in that line item. I don't need $40,000 till the end of the fiscal year. I only need $25,000. Great. I have clerk training coming up. That's going to be X amount. I have a court clerk who wants to become a certified court mediator so that the city isn't paying $100 an hour. They would pay $30 an hour. That's $2,000. Great. I can pay for that and save the money in the long run for the city, right? I can do those things because the other line items are bare bones. I don't pad my budget. I never have. So they're bare bone numbers. I can't pull from other lines. So I would never put the city or my employees in a position where they didn't have insurance coverage. That was done to me, and it's very devastating financially. So I would never do that. I would ensure before I ever pulled money out of that budget line that there was enough in there to do family coverage, the highest insurance rate that there is, that the city would be responsible for. Again, all I'm asking is, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying, will you please table it until such time as I get the reports for the last 4 months and I can see where I'm at. That's all I'm asking.
Mary, is there any way that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this particular budget adjustment on hers is not anything that's going to affect the budget resolution. It is not going to change. Her lines are not over or under at this time. I say table it so we can move on.
You know what tabling means, right?
That means it goes away.
Well,
You mean you want to vote on it?
Well, however you guys, whatever verbiage, and so we can sit down. And I told Lori that if she needed more money for her safety or whatever, we would get that done together. So,
Okay.
I mean, whatever we need to do, I'm good.
Counselor Proctor.
I will move to postpone the line item that we're discussing here, B. Line item B, and let American do what she's gotta do, the judge do what she's gotta do, and these two women get together and discuss in the future, anything that has to do with the courts that be discussed with the judge before any monies is moved or transferred around. That way, the judge will be able to maintain her budget, and then Mary will be able to maintain the books that governs the city with her budget fines.
So Proctor, before we started this, I tried to postpone this letter, and Mary said she has to have this before the end of the month, or else we're all gonna.
Right. Right. So just the first
always-
two lines, I would like the rest of. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, members of council,
hey.
I'm speaking out of line.
No, I was speaking to a counselor. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was at, that's fine. If we take, I don't know however you need to do it. If we just remove the first two lines in the budget adjustments, I will remove them from my budget adjustments, which are the courts. And if we can go on and finish the rest of them, I need to get the rest of them approved.
Okay, you're talking about page 1, correct?
Yes, sir. Page 1, adjustment number $1,040 for the part-time position. I will not add to that line, and I will not add to the insurance line.
So since
I'm giving her more money, but I'll stop it. I will not give her more money until we can discuss.
Okay, good. Is that accepted, Mayor? If what they're just discussing, I would make a motion to postpone the page 1, the line item Mary just discussed, if agreeable with you.
Wait a minute.
No, she wants it.
Approve with the amendment. So basically remove.
Yes, please.
Lines 1 and 2 from page, whatever that. page
Yes, I was
is.
adding to her budget. Yes,
Okay,
was giving her more money, but just stop. We don't need to. It's fine.
Okay, go ahead with your motion then.
is that agreeable with you, Judge?
It is. I mean, I think there's
Okay,
enough
thank
money
you.
in the bailiff, so I think we're okay.
Okay, thank you. Then I make a motion to approve what the finance director is discussing with page 1.
2 lines.
2 lines.
Mine's on page 1. Okay, now we still have 3 more pages.
Can I go ahead and just name the account numbers so that?
Sure, go ahead.
Postpone action on account numbers 10-42-41040 and 10-42-42050.
Okay,
Is that correct, Mary?
Yes, sir, that is.
okay, you got a motion.
Go get a second.
Got it, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, counselors.
But that's just for page 1. So now page 2.
Okay. Are you ready for page 2?
Yes.
So on page, okay, thank you.
You want to go ahead?
On page 2,
Do we need to go ahead and vote on it? I don't think so.
Before the second page?
Right, before we start the second page,
Postpone action on those 2 items.
Counselor Lakeland.
Aye.
Counselor Baber.
Aye.
Counselor Miller.
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
aye.
Motion carries.
Want to take a break now?
Okay, we have a request, what are we looking at, 10 minutes, or the smoker's gonna have time in 10 minutes?
Oh.
Smokers they want 15, I guess. Let's go with 15 minutes because the restrooms may have a line before,
Yeah, gonna have a wet spot on the floor.
And I can't sit that long.
Okay, that would be item F. Item G, item H, item I,
F,
J, K,
H, I,
you're right.
yeah,
Trying to get all the alphabet, but it worked.
and L.
Yes, so, I've got it
The bottom, the whole bottom.
F through L.
That's all he is, my gosh.
Right now, do we need to? put on
Yeah, I've been worried about that.
in order to just Get off the.
No, you just move to amend the agenda to allow these items to be,
Or next, yep.
So y'all finish the
We're
financial.
still in the middle of discussion.
well, you can just move off of that and then come back to it.
No, just thinking.
Some of these people may not come back. I think we can go ahead and start.
You know, and I think, Mr. Mayor, probably the proper motion is move to hold the current item in abeyance, subject to taking F through L, and we'll come back to it.
Come back to the others, yeah.
Okay,
I think we still need to address it.
okay. But I would bring before the council for us to how am I going to state it to the current discussion,
Temporarily set aside the current.
temporary set it aside, pending that we would,
New Joey stuff.
okay, I like that.
Mayor, may I move that we temporarily set aside our discussion with letter B?
Yes,
Hold it till the end of the meeting and immediately discuss F,
E through L.
E through L on our.
No, F
F through L.
through L.
G, H, I, and L.
F through L on the agenda.
Put it back on the table.
Okay, so the council needs to vote on that, John.
We need a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Counselor Miller.
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Counselor Baber.
Aye.
Counselor Lakeland.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item F is discussion and possible action on approval of White Sands construction proposal for HVAC maintenance on existing units in the museum through the state of New Mexico price agreement in the amount of $82,948.75. Joey,
Motion's been made. You have a
A
second?
second.
Right, Mayor, members of council. thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This month, this is to fix 11 heating and air conditioning units on the museum. This is a guesstimate. I had the company come up and walk through all of them, look through them, and told them to give me an estimate, a little high estimate if possible, because we don't want to come back for a change order. This is all capital outlay money, so everything we do, I have to get a price, and then I have to send it to Santa Fe, which takes a month or two to get an approval. Then I gotta bring it back here, go to council, get approval, and then take it to the contractor and get scheduled to work. So it may be a little high, it may end up costing that much.
But then it might not be that much.
Exactly, yes, sir. We know there's 2 units down completely, and they're probably $25,000 units. I'm hoping we have enough to cover what we need to, but it's a start. This is through statewide price agreement. It is, all covered by grant funds, nothing out of the city's pocket.
And it's true that when you get a grant for a certain item or for a certain area, like the parking lot and stuff, you can only use that money for that actual item.
Yes.
Okay.
This funds that are covering this are just, I wrote it up very vague. It's just museum repairs. That helped cover us so we could do a lot more stuff.
And that'll have all the heaters redone?
Hopefully, we hope. I don't want to bring a change order back because that's really a problem, and I hope it will, but I can't guarantee anything.
enough information, counselors?
Yeah.
Then I would entertain a motion to,
You made the
We already
motion.
have a motion.
We already have the motion in a second.
okay. All right, I got you then. Roll call.
Counselor Miller,
All right,
Counselor Lathwell,
Aye.
Counselor Weaver,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item is item G, discussion and possible action on approval of White Sands Construction proposal for restroom repairs in the museum through the state of New Mexico price agreement in the amount of $24,746.60. Joey,
I
Mayor, members
need a
of council.
motion in a second.
I'll make the
I'll
motion.
make second.
I thought we need to get information
Well,
more.
it's preferable for us to go ahead and do a motion in a second and then have discussion.
Okay,
Mayor, members of council, this is the same thing. This is the upstairs bathroom. This building was so pieced together, like you can't even find sheetrock to fix this stuff. We're having to defer the wall and shim it. And so that's what part of this is replacing the sheetrock, putting grab rails for handicap, fixing a drain, drain on the floor so it's handicap accessible, not catch a hill in it. All just restroom stuff, partitions, the doors and whatnot.
Nice bathroom.
It's gonna be. Yeah, yeah, I know, it's tough.
Is that enough discussion?
Anybody else?
oh, I do too.
okay, roll call.
Counselor Weaver,
Aye.
Counselor Lathwell,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
Counselor Miller.
All right,
Motion carried.
Next item is item H. Discussion and possible action on approval of White Sands construction proposal for the green room floor repairs in the museum through the state of New Mexico price agreement in the amount of $75,741.95.
Make a motion.
I second.
Motion and a second. Joey,
Mayor, members of council, this is for the green room. It's a kind of a meeting, it's a room in the museum. This is where the floor has fallen about 6 inches. This is to cut out approximately 1,200 square feet of slab, recompact the foundation, new carpet or new concrete, new carpet, trim boards, get that room back up into shape.
because it is really sad. Could the counselors sometime come over and look at that? Floor?
Councilor Lacewell has, I invite anybody else, it's, they built the building, it's a metal building, so it's on piers, and they poured a slab in between it.
Right.
And every one of those slabs is doing this. So we're fixing it, fixing what caused it, so hopefully not that problem again.
When you get back, give me a call. I'd like to see one.
He goes on.
Joy, with all of these improvements that you're making and everything, are we gonna have to come and do the outside of the building?
Outside, no, inside, outside's pretty good out. Part of this is that building takes so much to maintain. And
Because
the building was, when Hubbard had it or whatnot, they gave a lot of money. As time went by, the facility didn't make enough money to take care of itself. The funds went down to take care of the building. So like a lot of these issues with the slab, we're finding where the roof rain was running under the slab. We're gonna fix that. We're actually gonna pave the foundation and slope everything away from the building. But there's tons of stuff like that that just was beyond their abilities back then, so we're gonna have to make up for it now.
I think, Mayor, back in the day when that was built, they used to have wrestling matches there when it was a long
I
time.
seen Charlie Daniels over there.
A concert.
Yeah.
Nice to make it one
yeah, there was concerts over there.
time.
We just had all that wood floor redone, beautiful, but they found the nozzles underneath it that sprayed the water for the ice skating rink.
Ice skating, yeah.
Looks really nice.
I rest.
It's got a lot of history.
Okay.
Yeah, but, that's interesting to go look at that and see what's going on. Roll call?
Counselor Beaver,
Aye.
Counselor Leeswap.
Aye.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Parker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item is discussion and possible action on on approval of the West Sands construction proposal for HMAW lobby drywall repairs through the state of New Mexico agreement in the amount of $46,186.31.
I make a motion.
We have a motion and a second.
Mayor, members of council, this is the main opening when you come in the front doors where the skylights are. Skylights leaked and ruined all the sheetrock in that big atrium. It's 3.5 stories up there to put new sheetrock. They're gonna put sheetrock and some expansion joints. And fix all of that. It's the same way. It's got red iron, 2x4s and plywood stacked on it to build walls. We're gonna address it and fix it.
But the roof and the outsides are good.
It's got a brand new roof on it. The skylights, we had repaired ourselves because I went to everybody in Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Raw, not one company would touch those skylights. They said the liability for them, because it's probably gonna leak again in a couple of years, they wouldn't touch it. So we strung some safety stuff up there and bought the stuff and we recaulked them and sealed them ourselves. And maybe if we can keep it on a 5-year plan, it won't happen again.
That's been a real problem. Okay, roll call on this.
But when they put these new ones in, it's gonna be good.
Yes, sir. Well, we hope so. We'll keep checking on it, but yes.
Yes.
All this work will be done at the same time, Joel?
No, probably not. They'll probably send a crew to do part of it and send another crew to do that. This company's so big, they build like malls and,
Okay.
Just White Sands?
yeah, they're huge.
Are they the only ones that work for us?
No, we have a couple that work for us. Our problem is finding anybody local. Because either locally, they won't have the bonds to do the work, or they are so expensive. And to me, this is really expensive. We bid a bathroom out a couple years ago and they want $600 a square foot, local. I mean, that's crazy. That's,
Wow.
a
They
lot.
don't wanna do the government rate for us?
No, there's really not a government. The statewide agreement, you have to be a member of it.
Uh-huh.
So like if you had a construction company, you could send your information and get on the list. And you still get your prices, but there's different breakdowns that you have to follow. So we really started trying to use the agreements more. Sometimes they're more expensive, but you can get the work done. I've called the biggest plumbing companies around for this building. They didn't show up. So I had to get somebody from Albuquerque. So it's just easier to use the agreements and it saves a lot of time.
I think those skylights, it's one of those kind of deals where they're outdated. They're like a classic car.
Well, the skylights, I tried to have taken out and put a roof over it. And they
Yeah.
wanted $500,000 to design it and put a roof over it.
Yeah, I
That
remember.
was taking it off, put some trusses, but couldn't put trusses because the beams that hold the skylight up are definitely not built to code. Because they're stacked 2x4. I mean, it's a mess.
But they're gonna redo all of it.
They're not gonna redo the internal structure because it's already there. They're gonna reface everything and tie everything back down.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay,
We'd be broke trying to fix that one.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. If it's not cheaper to burn that son of a gun to the ground and build a new one.
Right, right.
we've considered everything and one thing about it, Counselor, is that we can get that and get the city hall over there and the museum in the bottom, what's left of it. That building is so neat. You know, if we were to build a new one, and we've got enough property there, but it'd just be another building. That thing really, if get it back, it will be it's just awesome, the looks. It's really unique.
Is there a way to make it pay for itself?
I don't think so. I think it's always a lost leader. Most museums are.
Yeah.
But I think with City Hall in there, maybe we can offset some of the cost. Talked with the mayor before, and there's potentially, we can move the police department and courts down there eventually. And there's different options. There's a lot of building there that could be something to be done with.
And when the
Instead of
time,
building an $8 million city hall, that was in 2016.
and when the time comes, Counselor, we might, we can look at maybe selling this building to help pay for that.
For the fire department?
Not gonna turn into a
Okay.
nightclub.
I'm good.
Well, that might not be a bad idea. Rudosa's making all that money on Saturday night.
We gotta get Chick-fil-A first.
Okay, roll call on this one.
Counselor Proctor?
Aye.
Counselor Miller?
Aye.
Counselor Weaver?
All right.
Counselor Lakeland?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item J is discussion and possible action on approval of the unusable and obsolete items to auction on the gov.deals website.
Is that old equipment?
Motion and.
Motion and a
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion.
Second.
Second.
This is just old outdated equipment we don't use anymore. Whenever you come to our shop, you'll see how old our stuff is, and this is the old stuff itself. It's just been sitting there for years. I like to auction it off, and I like that money to go back into my street department fund. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times we put it back in general. I need that money back so I can continue to replace the old stuff I have if possible.
So this money goes back into you.
I hope so. I don't know if there's a rule with finance or anything. I don't wanna.
When we fix that.
Another discussion between Mary and Joy.
Yeah, we'll find out. We're good with that. Me and Mary, y'all will see, me and Mary, Mayor's been there.
Oh, yeah.
Throwdowns, but we figure it out.
And there's
This-
also, just for your information, there's a lot of grants that's coming up this year just for vehicles.
And I did ask for some through capital outlay, and I actually went to the auction this year, but they didn't have nothing. It was all junk. And if it's worse than ours, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I went to the capital outlay with Joy this last time he was there. Kind of interesting. More need to go. They understand it better.
Okay.
Yeah, Joey has that gift. He and Mary get into it, but it's like it should be. It ain't a pretty sight when it's going on. I try to stay in my office and stay away, but they can do that and come to an agreement, and not be mad and still be speaking and this kind of thing, which is kind of rare.
You just can't hold grudges. It's business and work and move on.
How nice it would be.
Okay, so we're ready for a roll call?
Counselor Miller?
Aye.
Counselor Proctor?
Aye.
Counselor Weaver?
All right.
Counselor Lakeland?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item K is discussion and possible action on approval of change order number 1 between Bixby Electric and the city of Rudosa Downs. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Joey?
And members of council, the stoplight is up, it's done, we need to pay them. This change order is just a paperwork issue. They did not have to replace the foundation for the main mast. And that was in our original scope, but they had to add 6 new bulbs or traffic signals displays, so it's a wash. There's no increase, there's no decrease. I just need y'all's approval. I can sign it and get these guys paid and move on.
Can I ask just one question? Did the guy that had the wreck, did they not have to pay for that?
Yes,
He
sir.
did, his insurance covered about 25% or something like that.
25?
That's all he had.
Oh,
Our
I
insurance picks up the difference and then does what they do with them, you know.
Well, I'll make that
Yeah,
motion.
his insurance covered some.
So,
That motion.
I think we already had a motion second.
Yeah,
Roll
we
call.
did.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Lapos,
I'm
Counselor
tired.
Weaver,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Last item, Joey.
yeah,
Item L, discussion and possible action on approval of the agreement between WH Pacific and the city of Ruidoso Downs for the asset management plan for the city's wastewater system in the amount of $49,776, including GRT.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I mean, Joey, one question on the last part of it.
uh,
How much was that?
what do you mean, the amount or
Yeah, for the Bixby.
100 or 200 and something thousand?
No kidding.
Well, but then you gotta add the marquee sign and all that. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Wow, I didn't know it was that much.
Well, we need to get together again. I'll explain to you the history of that and how that happened with Bill Richardson. That was not even supposed to exist.
Yeah.
But I can tell you how that happened.
So this asset.
The highway department doesn't acknowledge that even exists.
And that, when that pickup hit it, tore that, it's 4 foot deep, 3 foot by 3 foot concrete, he hit it so hard. It ripped it
I'm
out.
going to.
He took down 2 poles, I think, and yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor and Councilors, we need to stick to the item that,
Yeah.
is on the agenda.
Okay, so
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is a CDBG, it's a federal grant for an asset management plan. They only give out 50,000. So we picked what would kind of fall under 50,000. And all it is, it goes over your age and the quality of your infrastructure for wastewater. It kind of gives us a plan in the future where we're gonna go with it. This is a grant, 49,226. I believe we have to pay 2,500 of that, paid out of our infrastructure funds. We did RFPs and WH Pacific was awarded the highest score for the quality of work they do. So I'd like to get them approved and move forward.
Who is it?
WH Pacific, they're a worldwide engineering company.
Okay, that's part I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
all right, ready, counselors?
Could
All
I,
right, let's,
could I ask just one question?
Yes, sir.
This is for our wastewater system, not the wastewater plant.
Correct, just our system.
Our lines.
Yes, sir, system in the ground.
Cause everything else got replaced 2 or 3 years ago.
But
Right.
yes, got maintained, upgraded.
so that was the topic that we had when you and I were at the joint use board. Yeah,
And then these, so y'all, you knew with this, every grant requires, like, a lot of water trust board, Colonias, they require you have an asset management plan to apply for funds. So this will help us, and that means I can apply for more wastewater grants because we'll have an asset plan done.
Because we gave them 50.
Right, pretty much. We have a water one currently, and that is it.
is that it, counselors?
Yeah.
Roll call.
Counselor Weaver,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Lapos.
Aye.
Adios, Joey, and drive careful, drive careful, drive.
That was quick.
Be careful.
First.
I need to put you first.
Okay, then, we're back to item B.
Motion, Mr. Mayor, to resume discussion of items B.
Could I get a motion to resume?
Motion.
Second.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Lapos,
Aye.
Counselor Weaver,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, so where are we, John, on this discussion?
Well, I think we, had agreed that,
Them two would get together.
items, those first 2 items, and we listed the numbers on them. Those were moved to be, postponed.
Yeah.
And so we're down to the next 2 items on the first page.
And Mary,
Mary, are you still there or did you go home?
No.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, members of council. This item we briefly discussed before we went into a break. This is the amount that we did discuss actually, where the LEPF fund was, in the preliminary budget as 104,000. And I was notified by DFA that it's 107, so I'm increasing both revenue and expenditures to reflect the $107,000 of grant money for the LEPF fund.
What page is that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
What, I thought we were on page 2.
Page one.
Page one.
Yes, that's what I thought too, but they wanted to discuss the two items on page 1. I'm sorry.
The last two that
Yes.
we didn't cancel out before, sorry, Mayor.
Those,
No, oh, it's fine.
those
Fine.
numbers are both
Law
2000,
enforcement and camp out vehicles.
2,400.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So we're okay on that? Any questions? Okay, so on page 2, the first line item that is listed is 3445,490.40, which is a non-promotional lodger's tax line. The amount of $4,800, 600, I'm sorry, I can't see, I think it's 600. The amount of that is to cover the repair for the damage done to the sign sitting out front along that highway that was damaged in the accident. The money that we received on insurance did not cover the total cost of repairs. And the original sign was covered electricity and everything for lodger's tax. This is non-promotional, but since it is promotional, the $4,000 to pay that in full for the repairs was put into the lodger's non-promotional fee expenditure line for the $4,600. And the total amount of that project, I believe, is $177,000. I know somebody said 200. I believe it's $177,000 something. And then Fund 29, those two lines, they're moving money within their budget. They're adding money into the uniform line and taking out money from the budget maintenance. So that's a wash. It's a zero effect. But looking at this budget adjustment, you can see that it's out of balance because I'm adding an expenditure to non-promotional funds in lodgers that was not there in the original budget to cover the cost of this sign that was damaged. So that's why it's not in balance. Any questions?
No, that's just the difference between what the insurance covers and what we had to pay.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Yep. Okay.
And that was not put in the budget at the time because we didn't know what the exact cost would be. And page 3,
You have something?
this is, I'm sorry, did you have questions?
Yeah, we have another question from Councilor Faber.
No, I was just. So how much money are you wanting to cover that, Mary?
I need to put $4,600 in that line to cover the total cost of getting everything paid from Bixby.
And we don't have that money, is,
So the original budget, I'm sorry, the original budget, we didn't have money in that line because we didn't know we were gonna have to have money to finish paying that accident out there. So there wasn't any. So what we're doing is we're putting money in that line so we can pay the construction, Bixby Electric. We can pay them in full for the services they provided. And part of the services they provided was replacing that sign, which was $29,000 for the new sign out there.
which sign are we talking
Okay.
The
about?
big
They have
color
Rick
one
out
in
here.
the front
He
yard.
signed.
This says,
It says
City
city
meeting?
council meeting tonight. There's a $30,000 sign and we need to pay $4,000.
Insurance didn't cover it all. His insurance and the insurance from the city, when they all got it together, they were shy for $600. And that's why we have to make.
That's correct.
Yeah.
okay,
Correct, correct.
Okay. Mary, go on to the next page, please.
Okay, yes. The next page is for grant monies that the police department received for recruitment of law enforcement officers. We received $150,000 this year. It was not currently in the budget. So I have revenues increased by $150,000, which is the first line, 20, 30, 360, 57. And then the second line is the expenditures for that grant money, which is the 20, 40, 470, 11. So that is a zero effect because I had grant monies that are coming in and grant monies, hopefully they'll extend.
And
Any
that,
questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mary,
Yes, sir?
Councilor Proctor,
Yes.
on that,
Yes, sir?
all this money is strictly used for law enforcement, correct?
It is specified, this particular money is only allowed to be used for recruitment purposes
Right,
of
okay.
law enforcement officers.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's see, and then the last page is grant monies we received for the fire department on a new, and I could be wrong, but I think they said a brush truck. So they applied for and did receive $293,526 so they could buy a new brush truck or brush tender, whatever they call it. And so the first line on that page is the revenues we did receive for $293,526. And then hopefully we can get that expensed out. So the second line is the expenditures for the grant money received for that tender truck, or I think that's what it is. Any questions?
Yes.
Counselors, do y'all have questions of the
yes.
fire chief?
What, is this the truck that we gave the extra money to?
No,
No?
no, that's for, a regular pump truck.
This is a different. Mhm.
So the only one we did before was for the pumper, the new pumper we're getting. This one, we got granted for a new brush truck. So, I haven't picked somebody to go through as of yet, but she's just letting you know that we got approved and the monies are here.
That's grant money?
And who's this grant money from?
Yes, sir.
Fire marshal's office.
Okay. I understand, but who?
State of New Mexico Fire Marshal.
The question was who put it in there?
Who put the grant in?
Oh, Bruce Baker. Bruce Baker put the grant in for it last year and we got approved.
Okay, question, Mary, on this, when you talk about it, okay, on.
Yes, sir.
On the total budget, 293, 526, and you come down to a total of 1223, and you show 293,526, but then you show.
Yes, sir.
A grand total of 455,832. I'm assuming, and I
Yes,
don't
sir.
like to use that word, but I'm assuming that you added the two together.
No, it's all for.
Actually, if you look at, it starts on page 1. Now, this amount is going to be a little bit different now because I'm going to remove on page 1 the first 2 lines of those adjustments. And those, I was adding money to court. So now I'm not going to add any money to court. So that's going to change the bottom line total. That 455,832 is the total of all debits for all 4 pages.
Okay, I got you now.
I added it up to make sure it calculated correctly, and it does.
Okay, now I've got you. I understand.
Okay, and then the second side of that, the 447, is the total amount of credit added to all 4 pages. Now, again, those bottom line totals will change because I'm going to remove the first 2 lines in the budget adjustments. They will not be included.
All right, I understand that.
So, if I might clarify, we can deduct the sum of $1,040 and the sum of $2,266 from the.
Correct.
From the total debit amount of $455,832. So what y'all approve would.
Correct.
That amount less.
That's gonna go back on this total amount here.
It's actually going to be removed.
Be reduced by,
Yes, sir.
Right, okay.
1,040 and 2,266.
Okay,
Any questions?
No.
all right, let's have a roll call.
We need a motion.
Need a motion?
We had
Yeah.
a motion to approve initially, and then we had another motion to set aside those first 2 items. I think our motion needs to be amended to approve subject to removing the amounts set aside on those first two items.
I mean,
Does anybody want to make a motion what John said?
I'll make. the
What
motion.
John said?
Do that. What you just said, to remove
That's
the line items, and then you read them off. So those have already been.
You gave her the numbers on it.
Yeah,
Right.
Because
I
they're
thought
gonna
we
talk
had a
about
motion
that.
to approve, Because we needed a positive motion at the first to enter into discussion for the entire agenda item B.
well, what I have is motion to remove the four line items 1 and 2, and you stated. the line
Right.
item.
And those two are postponed till they talk.
Till them two get together.
So if we, I thought we made a motion to approve B, but if we haven't approved B, subject to the
Yeah.
elimination of
Yeah.
those two line items, as previously moved and seconded.
That's what I'm saying.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
How much are we approving?
We're approving what you got over here.
Just those two lines,
You're approving everything but
but the
those,
two.
But
lines.
those two
The
lines.
two top lines, you're approving everything else.
and those amounts will be removed from the total amount, the debit amount shown on page 4.
And after they get together and talk, then we can come back and fix that.
Back to
They will be put back on the budget, on the agenda, not the budget. Sorry.
Okay,
All right, I'm good.
Motion,
make a motion.
I make-
I stated.
Second,
Roll call.
Counselor Lacewell,
Aye.
Counselor Faber,
aye.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Getting there.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that,
Yeah.
Item B.
and that takes care of, item B, correct? Okay, item C, discussion and possible action on, adoption of resolution 2024-02. A resolution authorizing signatures for the city of Red Oaks Downs accounts with all financial institutions within the surrounding areas of the municipality.
Mayor, I move that we discuss and possibly move on this resolution, as you stated, with a correction of removing the word temporary off of that page.
Can we get a motion in a second?
That was my motion.
Okay.
Second. Motion.
I made this motion, but inside that motion, the resolution is listing Judy as a temporary mayor pro tem, and she's not a temporary, she is
Oh.
the mayor pro tem.
Well, pro tem alone means temporary. But
Either one.
It had
and
temporary,
only. Either one and only.
it had temporary, then temporary hit.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that needs to be done.
Roll call.
motion to approve, subject to elimination of the word
Yes,
temporary.
remove temporary.
Section 1.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Miller,
Aye.
Counselor Beaver.
Aye.
Counselor Lacewell,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
motion carried.
All right, Mary, I believe that takes care of all yours, doesn't it?
That's
I
it.
think so, because they removed the other item, right? I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Have a good
okay, thank you. Before we
Thank
go,
you. Bye-bye.
okay, good night. Before,
Make sure it hangs up. Sometimes it gets loud. Issues out.
before we go to the next, item, and then the attorney's gonna be getting on me, but this needs to be done. I try to stay on the agenda, I stray sometime. And visiting with the clerk during the break, she explained to me why, when Carol Verdon was here and I was on the council, that we would get our packets earlier than what we're getting now. She explained that we can do exactly what was being done then. But if I understood it correctly on a real quick conversation, it's going to affect you guys on the other end. If you want something on the agenda, explain that for them, because I think I understand it.
The previous clerk used to close the agenda on Mondays, I believe at 10. so she was able to put the agenda packets out by Wednesday. We now close the agenda packets at 10 on Wednesdays, so that gives the directors, department judge more time to put the agenda as well as you guys. So that's why we put it out by Friday. But if you all want to move it back to Wednesday, we'll close the agenda on Mondays.
I got no problem.
It's a lot
I think
easier.
that'd be fine because those extra 2 days with government offices open. And we can investigate it a lot better and we're not here like we're on now until almost 5 o'clock. If that's possible, I'd recommend it.
That's just because City Hall was taking us out to dinner.
It's possible. The only one that had an issue was Joey because he had so many things to put on the agenda. We used to do it, we can do it again.
So,
So,
can
I'm sure
his-
if Joey, if he has, I guess if he has an emergency, I mean, I don't know how we could look at that. I don't know if that's something that,
Well, 9 out of 10 of the things that he brings forward ain't nothing but grants anyway.
well, we're free next month of grants.
Well, we
Next
still
month.
have to do it. Is there any way we could, change that for him since he has that problem to get everything in here?
Get everything in by
I'll
Monday.
talk to him and see what he
See if
says.
we could
but we'll
change
try
it
to-
for him and keep it for him at least on Wednesday. He
Well,
puts
if
more
we
things
close it
on.
with him on Wednesday, then I can't put that
Oh.
agenda out by 12 on Wednesday.
That's what she's saying. You either,
Yeah.
if you want to do the long deal, put it in Monday instead of cutting off Wednesday.
Well, let's
That's
try
your
it.
choice.
Yeah.
And then
There you go.
it's just hard to get it on Friday. I can't speak to anybody, here. And then have to vote on everything Monday.
So let's put
We don't
everything
have
in,
a week.
get our agenda in by Monday and then we got the week, right?
Right.
Now
We
go
got-
ahead
we
and send
got-
the email out to the directors
Okay.
and make them aware that we'll be closing the agenda at 10.
All right, and Ally, do I understand that means that we're going to go ahead and amend resolution 2023-28?
No, we don't have to amend it.
I think that all of the counselors are asking, and we did it unanimously in vocally and in paper. We want to see resolution 2023-28 amended, and that's in there, that the meetings have, that all of this information needs to be in at a certain time is in this resolution that we can amend.
That's up to the mayor.
Okay.
I don't know.
You've got my word. If that's what you guys want. First time it doesn't happen, let me know. I'll see that it does happen.
Okay, so
You don't, if we can't trust each other any more than that, I guarantee you.
so we are.
Can you get that?
So the issue, as I understand it, is that the resolution, portion of that resolution that you are willing to amend and put on your agenda, Mr. Mayor, is the resolution amending the time for submission of agenda items to 10 o'clock or noon, let's say, on Monday to the next council meeting on the following Monday. So that the agendas can then be distributed to the councilors by Wednesday.
Yeah,
And it's-
Wednesday.
and it's-
Okay.
Wednesday noon's one, it's like that for years
And
and
it's
years.
that, it's that item on the resolution alone that you're willing to.
I want to do other resolutions, amendments on resolution 2023-28, and the entire council does. And it says
Okay.
right here that the affected body should be able to make these changes, and we are that body.
I understand that, but we also have an ordinance that was adopted by the city council saying that the mayor must approve all of the items.
Right, and so that's what we're doing right now.
You're asking him,
Yeah, but we want to make other amendments other than just.
they want to get into other issues.
Okay, so I'm gonna prove that if that's what you want. It is proved then.
Perfect.
Good.
When you say you're going to approve that, what are you talking about?
So we're going to discuss and amend,
Some amendments.
discuss and amend resolution 2023-20.
And what other items does that cover?
The dates, times, just everything on there, anything on there that we want.
You have it in front of you.
The agenda and times.
Okay.
Right?
Is that all that's covered? in that?
It's 5 pages. Well, it covers the dates and times, regular meetings, the public input, public hearings, workshop meetings, board and commission appointments, emergency meetings, special meetings. And it goes on about the notice of quorum and all that. So there's 16 items on here and we would like to discuss them all. for possible amendment.
Can we get on it on the next agenda for that
It's up to you.
and vote on it then? You'd have time to look at it. We'd have time to look at it. See all.
Does this just narrow down,
I need, yeah,
does this just narrow down the times? Is that what this is about?
No.
that's what I thought.
Expanded, and that's what I wanted the mayor to understand.
Yeah, there's too much on there. I agree with you. I thought we were just agreeing on what y'all were wanting at this
The
point.
agenda and the time.
So I would prefer that we take those as separate issues. I'm probably gonna go along with the situation. It's just like the meeting times, guys. Okay, the 5:30 meetings. Every doggone thing that we're gonna do has trade-offs, unfortunately. So if you start at 5:30 and we're doing what we're doing now,
Yes, ma'am.
you're gonna be getting home awfully late.
This is.
Either one of them has good points and bad points. So,
Mayor, on that, this is where a workshop is very, very valuable. Then you get away from this here because you've got the directors there. Every director's got to sit in on that workshop and they talk about what they want on the agenda and how they're going to put it. The counselors are there. It's open for you to be there, sir. And when that agreement happens and it goes on the agenda, then it goes to the city clerk. She puts it on there. We're out here an hour and a half because we're not going to go through stuff like this here.
no, not,
And that meeting starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we go from there with it.
It's the resolution that
That's-
all four of us submitted to you.
And I think Terry put a lot of thought into that. I think this was great today. It was almost like a workshop.
It was,
It actually was.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Almost
I
like.
just came back. I learned a lot of things. My head got foggy on a lot of the stuff because up there in Santa Fe, one was saying one thing and then this number was coming back and saying a little bit different. And it wasn't out of content, but the proposal of the way you would submit it or the way you would take it. And like our attorney told me one time, we agree to disagree because I read it one way, you read it a different way. And I read things for the value of the words. That's just, all my Army life, I had to do it just like that. You couldn't read into it. So they said that a workshop is a highly recommended thing to do. And I don't want to get into a workshop to where we have to have 2 meetings in a workshop. I think we could get by with 1 meeting. And that's what the resolution that we submitted and it never got put on the agenda. And it could have been up for discussion and it could have been postponed. And all we want to do is what we promised or I didn't promise nothing to the city and the constituents in the city, but we said what we would like to do and what we'd like to see. I've already explained it before I was sworn in, that if we had a workshop and we had a meeting at 5:30, and if we didn't get no participants to come to the meeting, then we would move it back to 2 o'clock. And that's the way I feel about it. There's no outhouse in this one. If we don't get, say, 3 months, 4 months, we don't have anybody doing that, coming to the meetings, we only get 2 or 3 sitting there at 5:30, then yeah, okay, we take it back and we'll leave it that way.
yeah.
So
Go ahead.
2 recommendations. I think what I'm going to send. One would be to put the resolution that Councilor Lacewell is talking about, make that a request for an agenda to be put on the agenda to discuss that resolution. That would put everything on that resolution. Now, Mayor can then pick and choose from that as to what he's willing to put on the agenda or not put on the agenda.
As far as that list.
Yes, sir. Number 2, what can be accomplished is that if you do agree to a workshop, is that resolution be put on discussion at the workshop and all through these things, and find the pluses and minuses and try to find some common ground on. In the meantime, the most important part of that was discussed today is the timing of the agenda. And so if I could make a recommendation is that you make a request that on the next agenda that the resolution
referred to by Counselor Lacewell be amended to provide this change in the date for submission to the agenda and date of having the agenda out to the counselors. And that the other issues be taken up at workshops so that y'all can talk about those meeting times, things of that nature.
What this resolution that I was talking about includes is one meeting a month and one workshop a month.
I think we have 2 a month.
Well, that's what we're trying to say, what Proctor just said.
Oh,
That
so,
instead of having
so you're
two
wanting
council,
to amend that to 1 meeting?
right, that, and that's what the did you not get to see the resolution?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
And then what would that take place of? You got all the directors there. You're weeding out all this, all the.
So you're saying have
all the
one
BS.
workshop a month
At 3
Do
o'clock,
that.
It's the same thing the village does.
and the 3
They
o'clock.
have a workshop
and
and
then a
then they
meeting?
have a meeting, but then all the items that they discussed at the workshop are approved under consent agenda at the next meeting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Saying that, and I just
So they can't
think
approve
that
it in
would
the
be,
workshop.
I think that would be a good way to go on. In our work, we don't approve nothing in the workshop. We just listen to the directors and all this, and, I don't know, did their city clerk come to the workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, because it's.
So they come to the workshop, it's at 3 o'clock. Workshop could probably be done in an hour and a half, 2 hours, because it's not gonna be, excuse my language, ladies, a pissing contest on the audience. It's gonna
I
be,
think that's a legal term.
right, we're just gonna. We're just. You come, I think that's why we get along, because I come up with some. My wife said, trying to keep, anyway, we agree to disagree right there instead of here
Right.
in the councils. We're not having someone interrupted over here, someone over here getting, upset because it wasn't heard, or somebody out there saying, I don't understand. We can explain the things here, explain the items that we've wanted to put on the agenda. And it's just a 1, 2, 3 punch, and it's done.
Counselor Proctor, that could be good. When Joey and I go to the joint use board meetings in Ruidoso, those are on Wednesday. The previous Wednesday is kind of doing exactly what you're saying. They go over the various things that are going to be voted on and this kind of thing. And then the next Wednesday, it gets voted on as far as the treatment plant and all that's going on down there.
But what we thought would, on this right here, that one meeting that we have the first or the second Monday of each month, we would have that as a workshop. And it's on I think it's on
It's a resolution.
it's on that agenda 2024 XXX, because we didn't know what else was gonna be in there, which we have some here now, so it wouldn't have been right for us to put a number on it. And I believe it would work. Now, it's not what I believe. I have to work with my other constituents here that they would agree or disagree with it, and whether you agree with it and city clerk gets it, puts it on the agenda, and then we.
I used to do that at the village when I worked at the village.
Yeah.
I like the way it.
Did it work?
You did like
Yes.
it?
I like it.
It cuts a lot of time out from in here and lets us get down, it gets down to bare knuckling right in here.
And then the only thing you gotta worry about is if the people satisfied with one meeting.
Right.
You know, if we don't have.
But you gotta give
people-
notice of workshop meeting too.
Right. Right.
It's a
It's
public
open, it's
meeting.
open acts meeting, yep, it's there. And it's, I don't know, does the mayor in Rio also attend it?
Yes,
He does. So it's just, and it's
it's just a regular meeting.
that's a regular meeting,
Way the
format,
park.
we just don't vote on nothing. We just get it put on the agenda. And that
Just for
is,
discussion.
it's kind of like you're doing here, we just don't vote. We know exactly what we've got.
And that worked real well up there. I know a lot of times we down here, and it's just like them not putting a school down here when they could have. A lot of the time, as soon as we say Village of Ruidoso, no, we don't want to hear that, but they do some real good things up there.
Yeah, but they do some bad things.
They do some real bad things. And maybe we do too, I don't know, but
Well,
they do have, this is one of the things that they do that makes sense.
well, I'll tell you where they got it from, Mayor. 27 years in the military, and almost 3 years in combat in Vietnam and with SF, and I never never with my crew ever went into battle or went into a mission that we a status quo meeting prior to us going to just double check and kind of pick that up. We're not going to battle. We're not here to battle anybody. We're here to try to do the best the possible we can do for our city and its citizens and for the council and for the city hall here. So I think personally it would work if the members here would agree to it, then that's fine. If they don't, then it's fine too. I don't get upset because something doesn't go through. It doesn't.
Well, that's
I walk out them doors, I'm walking out and I'm going home and watch you done smoking.
I hear you. Yeah, I've got another life, that I'm really enjoying. I don't let this dominate to the point that, but I've appreciated, and John, I'll get back on the schedule here. I really appreciate your service. And you and I, you may not know this, we both were in the military. I really appreciate the service that you've done. And I don't know that gets recognized very much. I think of that nearly every time we say the pledge.
So, well, I look at that flag and it's near and dear to me and, and I can't, I'm not gonna browbeat it. That's why I wear this cap. I'm very proud of my service. And I'm proud of this country, whether I like the people that's up in Washington DC or not. It's, it's not the people, it's the country that the people live in. It's not the politicians.
So that's.
And I never did like a politician. I mean, here I am one.
You am one?
I am one.
Well, anyway, we appreciate it. Yeah, I never would want to do Fort Leonard Wood again. Basic training, I didn't know.
I was a DI there for 2 years.
Oh, my gosh. That's the reason I didn't care to be in the military, but I did the very best I could while I was in there. But boy, was I glad to get out.
We finish up what you got, John. I'm ready to go home.
I like the idea.
I moved to adjourn. Wait,
Oh,
10 more minutes. We'll be.
I thought it was two.
One more.
We're
We're
done.
Are we done? Got it all done?
Now, do I understand that the resolution that all four of us submitted is gonna be on the agenda next?
I cannot approve that. That's gonna be up to the mayor.
And he just approved that, so.
I didn't hear what was said.
What
About
the
putting
four
that
of
on
us-
the
What the
agenda.
four of us, submitted to you to be on the agenda at this meeting is what we are asking you to put at the next meeting. What, did I understand that you said yes, look at that?
I don't wanna answer that totally right now. I want to get some more information on what I'm doing. So,
That's all we're asking.
If you want to just do a workshop with it first, we hear everybody's,
we can come back. I want to be sure what I'm doing. As Counselor Baber said, I was told that you said you learned a lot in Santa Fe. And one of the things was to stay in your job description. And the mayor has the same thing. I have a job description that I have to take care of.
Right.
And I try to stay in my lane. And so I appreciated it when you said that. And that's, I'm trying to be sure that I'm doing the right thing as far as the neighbor, the mayor.
Dean, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Adjourn us.
Oh, well, we are adjourned. We
Okay.
are adjourned. And by the way, anytime